It's Wednesday night, and we're live. How's it going, Angela?
It's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to see you.
I made us a garlicky dinner, and I'm paying for it. I got garlic breath. It's a good thing you're all the way over there, and you can't smell my garlic breath.
I loved it. It was so delicious. And if you've got it, then I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got it.
Yep.
I can't tell if we're alone right now. We might be.
Doesn't seem to be anyone around.
Come on, you're gonna get a copyright hit.
Even if I sing badly, huh?
They don't care. I'm not saying you did, by the way. That wasn't my agreeing with you necessarily.
You can agree that I'm a bad singer. That's fine. My feelings will not be hurt. I know that I'm a bad singer. I actually don't give a fuck.
It doesn't take. I tell you, man. I just been thinking about David, the guy with the password for a name, and
his charges,
and just the crime itself. Like, I can't speak to the man's intelligence. He might be dumber than a rock, but he doesn't seem. It just seems so difficult for me to. I have a hard time. I'm grappling with him being so stupid that he would write a song about murdering a lover. Then he would later murder a lover, dismember her body, and put it into a car that he owned and that was registered to him.
Yep.
And then purposefully abandon the vehicle in the Hollywood Hills, where obviously he would make him the biggest suspect of the case. I don't.
In the Hollywood Hills especially, where it's going to be found and towed.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that anybody who's driving around the Hollywood Hills is going to tolerate an abandoned car for more than 15 fucking minutes.
Is he the stupidest thing that ever walked on legs? Or is he being set up?
I don't know. It's like, it could be that he left her body in his car in a secure location and that somebody had the keys and took it and abandoned it for him. I don't know. I mean, it just gets even more outlandish,
Delicate's in and nice. Out. She's going to be back later because she's got some work to do. But she said hello. She wants us to read the text messages.
Yeah, okay.
It's her. She's the one.
I'll read the rest of this document today.
And then we'll read the text
And then
messages.
the Wayfarer Parties has one, which is hilarious, that I just skimmed over.
It just dropped?
No.
Oh.
They dropped like the same day.
Okay.
But maybe when Delicate's back, we'll read the text messages. Erica Ride Home says, personally, I would go with David being stupid.
It's possible. Deanne says, I think he was mentally unwell. And that's definitely got to be it. If he's absolutely like, look, if this kid killed her, it might be that he didn't. Like, he might have enemies. You know what I mean? He might have enemies that have that depth of evil accessible.
That's what I was saying in the beginning. Like, it might have been that he actually protected her from somebody who's even worse in their friend group. And when he went out to, like, on a tour and she was left behind in his house or whatever, then maybe she fell victim to somebody else. This is what I was saying from the beginning.
It's crazy, man.
Not that I believe it. I mean,
it's a crazy story.
The guy looks really guilty,
Well,
we'll see what happens.
It's not looking good for him, obviously.
I mean, all they need is reasonable doubt.
The more I think about it, the more I can't help but wonder, like, could he have been so stupid? Like, I mean, what did you think? Like, to get rid of a body is not to hide it in your own car until it becomes, and then to go on tour, like it never happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he laid low after that. It's not like he moved to, some, place without extradition deals with the U.S. You know what I mean? This guy remained a public figure. It's just weird that you would think, okay, well, what was he thinking? And he left it on the side of the road. It's not even that he put it on the property.
That's the hardest thing to believe, is that he ditched his own car with a body abandoned. That he abandoned his own car with evidence of his crimes in it. Seems really strange.
Not difficult to imagine that he would leave the car and forget about the registration or just not bother with the registration. That's an easy...
No, but the guy's rich. He has a place to park. He wouldn't abandon his car out on the road. In the Hollywood Hills, there's not even...
With a body in it.
Yeah.
The thing is with the body in it. I can see it's not... I don't. You think of it as... You think about the side of the road thing as an abandonment, and I think of it as, I forgot it's there. Like you said, he's rich. He has these bigger concerns. He's not thinking about where his Tesla is or whether or not the tags are up to date.
This doesn't seem plausible for me either. Even if you're rich, you recall you've You mind where your car is.
I'm saying in a stretch, okay, he left his car, he was on tour, whatever. The tags expired, he forgot that they were expiring, whatever.
Erica Rydehome says, do you think he thought it might get stolen?
Well, that's interesting too. I mean, but then you're really on that dumb stretch. On that stupid.
If his like car got stolen, somebody joyrided it, and they were like, "Man, this car stinks. I'm gonna just ditch this thing." And steal
Ew,
another
bro,
one."
this car smells like dead squirrels, bro. This is gonna get me on a watch list. Teslas.
Deanne says that the Rebel Wilson trial is getting spicy. Brian Friedman is likely to be exposed today regarding disclosure issues. He did the same thing with being copied in on communications with Rebel Wilson and Melissa Nathan, it appears.
So before you get into that, Erica, I looked it up. I asked if Teslas are theft proof because I thought that was the least incriminating search I could do. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. I was about to type in like, how easy is it to steal a Tesla?
Yeah, that doesn't work.
They're like, oh, dude, get all flagged. So I asked a buyer's question. Are they theft proof?
Yeah,
that's my main concern.
You're thinking.
I got one. Mm-hmm. Teslas are not completely theft proof, but they are among the least likely vehicles to be stolen due to an advanced built-in security feature. I wonder if it's like just Elon comes on that big TV. Hey, I know Donald Trump. Don't fuck with this car. I don't know. Anyway, apparently not an easy thing to steal. Not that any car is easy to steal, but I don't know anything about it. Our scientist is here. So glad to see you. Good morning.
It's good to see you guys.
I said Deanne wished us a happy Thursday morning, right? She's also experiencing morning.
Yes, well, I was telling you what Deanne was telling us about the Rebel Wilson trial.
Yeah,
Are you with me?
Well, tell me again.
Okay.
All right.
The Wilson trial, Deanne says, is getting spicy. Brian Friedman is likely to be exposed today regarding disclosure issues. He did the same thing with being copied in on communications with Rebel Wilson and Melissa Nathan, it appears.
Yeah, so he tried to do the same we'll get it under my umbrella, kids.
Don't
worry about it. Daddy can say anything.
As long as I'm here.
Hey, Daddy's the great protector. Don't worry about it. Snapping the fucking...
Deanne said they're having to identify the law firm, lawyer, and others in the email. Same as what happened with Jones and Lively.
A scientist is unsure of the goodness of the morning, so she's just going with morning.
That's one way to play it safe.
Hopefully it develops well. The moon has moved into Cancer.
The moon loves it in Cancer.
So the moon's happy as fuck, and Jupiter's already there, exalted. So you got the domicile and the exalted happening, and I'm feeling perky.
Last time the moon and Jupiter were together in Cancer. No, not the last time. It happens every month.
No, it doesn't. It happens every month that Jupiter is in Cancer.
This is right. Yeah. So all this year, Jupiter has been in Cancer.
Yeah, the last cycle of the moon in Cancer, because this is what you're going to get is you're going to get the moon in Cancer all the way until June here. You know, so every time that the moon hits Cancer, it'll be there with Jupiter, and has been since Jupiter's ingression. And then that cycle will be over. That's a cycle.
Can I tell you something about Taylor Swift?
She's an amazing pop star.
This is the reason why I don't think that
tall, broad shoulders.
Her wedding as a 4th of July weekend adventure, I don't believe is her actual wedding. Because Taylor Swift has an astrologer. Maybe she is an astrologer. And she would not be holding...
It's probably like astrologers have astrologers.
She would not be holding her wedding when Jupiter has left Cancer. So her actual wedding, like when she... astrologers always pick the...
It would be a weird choice, man.
Hang on a second. Astrologers always... Well, people who are listening to us probably have recognized already that we're doing a lot of cross-talking. And I'm trying not to do cross-talking. Okay, but listen.
The moon is in Cancer.
Okay. Astrologers always pick the auspicious date for a wedding as like, what is the official thing that makes the wedding what makes it so in a way that if you didn't do it or prior to doing it, it was not so. So usually people will pick the auspicious date for like the wedding ceremony, which is like, okay, well, you want to just pick a nice time for a party, which is definitely the one that she picked. But if you want to have it be like the birth date of your marriage, it would be like when you sign the papers, when you file the paperwork or whatever, right?
Yes.
For sure, Taylor Swift is doing that before her wedding.
Because I'm saying too, yeah.
Because she has in her natal chart, she was born with Jupiter and the moon conjoined in Cancer. And so she would absolutely pick that really, really beneficial.
Among other things, it's the house of publishing, people.
Yeah.
And
Which is why everything that she publishes goes global.
Bonkers, bro. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Global, international success. Yeah. Her nice house.
She's not being honest with us about when her actual marriage is happening, which is fine.
Well,
we're not entitled to that.
My ex and I were married on Valentine's Day in Las Vegas. And it was a pretty cool thing. It was a cool event.
So great.
We got in line with like 2,500 other couples from all over the world. Some dressed like Elvis, others not so much. People like me and Angela. Her name was Angela as well. Don't ask any questions.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Me and Angela were dressed like two people in Vegas who just got there because we just got there.
So like pasties and tassels.
Yeah, exactly.
Tearaway pants.
For sure, all of that.
Yeah.
You know, oversized cowboy hat.
Yeah. Yep.
But we got married in Vegas on Valentine's Day officially. No astrology involved. And then we got married in front of the family the following September. And that was like a 200-person fucking big band and just absolute ridiculousness on display. And that was many, many moons later. And some family members found out later that we had already been married, and they were aghast.
They were?
Oh my God. They were just like, this is unbelievable. They were like I was surprised they didn't ask for their gifts back.
What?
Yeah. They were so offended because we were sitting there doing vows. They're like, oh my God, I just witnessed it when Dale and Angela made their union before the Lord.
Made their union, yeah. Marriage. Yeah, so they're different electional days that you would pick with good astrology. Do you have good astrology for family relations and a nice party and a nice happy get together where everybody likes to socialize? Or do you have like really good birth date of your entire marriage astrology, which is like really strong bonds and longevity? And it's just not the same kind of astrology you'd pick, you know?
No.
Did you ever look at the birth chart of your actual weddings to see whether it foretold what ended up being your doomed marriage?
I didn't. But if I may, just to interject on this whole, I've always said that astrology doesn't need you to believe in it or to follow it or to understand it or any of it.
Yeah.
That
it's like the weather.
Astrology is doing its thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll get on it and sometimes you'll get off it depending on how you're playing your game. Because it is ultimately a game. I don't believe in fate as much as I believe in free will. Although I think they're intertwined. I think they're braided together. I think once
they say about free will that you will act in a way that the fates have deemed you were supposed, like that your nature wants you to act. So you have been preordained to make the choices that your free will allows you to choose.
So the story I was telling you was that I've been reading Dane Rudier lately, who is this sort of he was a 20th century astrologer of great repute, and I've just been reading him lately. We got a bunch of his books laying around the house. I started reading them. And, a few of his books. He doesn't have a bunch. That really, 6, 8 books or whatever.
Nobody's checking.
Just, for clarity. And I'm reading his book on lunation, which it's just been an absolute joy. I absolutely love the book. It's completely because I've been getting into my moon journaling again. And then I was like, well, what better way to get into moon journaling than to read Dane Rudier's book on the moon? So I did, as a matter of just, synastry. And in it, he gets into the progressed moon. And I had never really spent a lot of time in progressions because, I understood them fundamentally, but I never really looked into them. In other words, I never went into my own progressions.
Do you want to define what that is?
So a secondary progression chart is some math that has your chart moving or progressing as your life goes on. And so everything's moving, because the earth is moving, but it's a different calculation than just, the regular mundane astrology.
I think they do. What they take is they take the birth chart and then they move it each day.
Is a year.
And each day accounts for a year of your lifetime. So if you're, if you're like 50 years old, you would move the chart 50 days. And then the progressed, I don't know. Is this an ancient theory or something?
It does. It's very old.
I'm so skeptical about why that would. It seems like something that people are just decided could be done as opposed to something that's.
My whole point to this conversation is that I never paid a lot of astrologers They actually I felt shamed at times about it because a lot of astrologers have said, if you're not looking into secondary progressions, you're not really doing your job. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but you're
hey,
like,
fuck you,
how is
man.
that a
I'm a
thing?
natal astrologist, astrologer. I look at the natal chart. That's my primary source for inspiration and creativity and so on and so forth. And that's where I go. That's where the creation is for me. That's where astrology lives for me. And, I felt a little offended is what I'm trying to say. But Dane Rudyard just pointed out, and he just talked about secondary moon progressions and specifically new moons. He's like, he's like, if you're not paying attention to the new moons in your secondary progression, you're not thinking. He's like, this is a bad thing. You must look at these. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I mean, shit. So I do. I go back into my new moon on my progress chart. Unfucking believable, Angela. It's unbelievable. This is, again, a testament to astrology doesn't need your fucking help. It doesn't need you to believe in it.
But what else is happening every 28 years?
So here's what happened.
Because a new moon happens every 28 days. So if you're looking at a progress chart, you're also looking at every 28 years of your life.
So let me just finish the story,
So
because you're
what's
getting
that
into some
cycle?
math that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm talking about. My new moon, which is not relative to my natal moon. My natal moon is a waxing crescent moon, right? My new moon, which is totally different thing, obviously. It happened on May 8th, 2020. That is when I started writing Too Real, a Hollywood memoir.
Hey, that's creepy.
And not only that, but the moon rules my ninth house of publishing.
What? That's cool.
Like Taylor Swift. Unlike Taylor Swift, I have not made $1 billion doing it, or even
Yet.
enough to
The day
pay the
is
rent.
still young.
So
There's still time to make $1 billion.
that's a fucking phenomenal thing, dude. I mean, you're
Yeah.
kind of downplaying it, but it's a fucking big deal.
I'm not downplaying
I got
nothing.
a new moon on
Downplaying.
practically the day I started writing my book. A new progressed moon, and by the way, they last.
I'm not downplaying. I haven't studied it enough to have, I have read about it, but people don't seem to be explaining it in a way that really clicks for me. So
Well,
I
it's
just
super exciting because
remain skeptical about its usefulness.
And I'm not going to get into it with you too much, except to say that it's around the sun, the moon, and the ascendant.
Yes, I know. But when somebody
the
says
MC.
a day equals a year, I'm like, okay, you just made that up. What is that? That's obviously not the way the universe works.
We won't debate it here, but the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding was delicious.
Erica Rydholm says that I should go by Angela, and then when you refer to that other one, you should call her ex-Angela. That's what Erica
I could call her Angie. I never really called her Angie, but I did call her Ange. It's so funny because at maybe 3 occasions in our 14 years, I've said Ange to you, and it's just like, and you don't even care about me referring to her.
What's weird is I just
But
find
you just
it.
don't like being called anything other than Angela.
Well, I don't even. It's like
I haven't called you anything other than Angela on whenever
I'm like that.
referring to you.
My whole existence is like that emoji with the blurred edges. I'd rather not be perceived at all or called at all.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'd rather not. I'd rather people not know my name. I think it's weird because people all throughout my life have called me Andrea, and there's another one.
Andrea, well, I get Dave.
You get Dave.
Oh yeah.
And it never bothered me, but for some reason, Ange or Angie is very it doesn't sound nice to
Well,
me.
you're just not a fan of anyone's.
I don't like the way it sounds,
yeah.
so that it's irritating.
Yeah, you're not a fan of most people's abbreviated names. And I get it, like my brother, or just whatever, not even abbreviated, but just whatever, because my brother's name isn't abbreviated to Dougie. But my parents called him that.
But why would you do that?
My dad's name was Doug. So it was Doug and Dougie.
I'm too logical for any of that stuff because I'm like, why would you shorten somebody's name and make it actually longer to say?
My cousins would call him Dougie all the way into our adulthood, and he'd be just like, they'd be like, hey, Dougie. And they'd be like,
I'm a grown man.
God. At least he didn't go by Douglas, that would really, I would know. If my name was Doug, I would have gone with Douglas all the way.
I know a guy whose name is Michael, and he gets real fucking bent out of shape if you call him Mike, and I just never understood it. It's kind of cute.
At least 10 scientists, I'm changing the subject, at least 10 scientists tied to sensitive U.S. research, specifically around UAPs, aliens, these kinds of things, have either died or disappeared in recent years, sparking a federal investigation. And I've been following this for a while and not bringing it up on this lab because it never gets any
Well, we
real-
did bring up that one guy who was killed on his front porch. It was apparently a drive-by shooting, completely fucking random.
Right.
And he lives in a nice neighborhood, where that sort of thing just doesn't happen. And apparently the authorities caught the guy and it doesn't seem like there's any connection. But why the fuck? How can you explain it? You know, he was just hanging out on his front porch, and a guy drove by and
these guys are
marked him.
major players, right?
Yes.
So like
these people are like running laboratories,
like huge players,
Yes.
and they're deeply embedded in the
Weird.
UAP alien world, and a lot of that stuff is percolating to the top with whistleblowers coming forward and going to Congress.
Yeah.
And everybody is all but confirmed. Everybody that has been involved in it, who have, whether it's Matt Gaetz or fucking whatever, they have all said, dude, it's real. What we're dealing with is real, and it's not
I
of
know.
this earth.
It's actually so alarming that I feel like it's probably a good idea for you not to like.
I don't know.
If
I'm
the
not
whole
involved.
scheme is to silence people, I'm like, okay, we're good. I'll just be
that's
silent.
not- they're not silencing people with 20 people watching them. They're silencing the people who know the actual information.
Yes.
Right? These are people who are like touching the biologicals.
My favorite one of those, and favorite is weird because this is obviously like really crazy true crime stuff that we're talking about. But the most intriguing one is the guy who disappeared, left his phone and his belongings at home.
Yeah.
Completely just walked out into the fucking ether.
Literally
never to
disappeared.
be. Yes. And his wife is also like, I don't know what happened he just disappeared.
It was like going for a cigarettes. I'm going to go have a cigarette, or going to get a pack of cigarettes, Dear John, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Without the Dear John.
But like left all of his things because he recognized that he would have been tracked. So they think that he deliberately disappeared himself.
So there's this guy, Tim Burchett. He's like a congressman or a senator. I can't remember which, but he's been doing rounds. So he has gone in, this guy is like, I don't know, like one of the southern states, North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe Tennessee. But he's a rep for them. And he went into the secret disclosure meeting, where they're like, hey, this is what's going on in the world. And, don't tell anyone. It's all classified what you're about to see. He came out of it saying it's life-changing. He's saying that, while he thinks that we can handle it, that it's going to change everything that we know and understand.
Yeah, of course it would. It's so weird that they say that.
it's
Like,
real.
obviously it would change everying if we knew that aliens existed.
So,
like,
he says it's real, right? It's a real deal. He's like, and he has now gone on to Piers Morgan, everybody's favorite, and said that he's constantly receiving death threats. He says he's worried about it. And prior to that, by the way, I saw an interview with him on, I don't know, one of the other, political shows or whatever. And I saw it as a clip on our UAPs. And on it, in the interview, he said that he said, and by the way, I'm not suicidal and I take no risks. And he just said that like just out of the blue, like it was like they were talking about something particular to the topic, but not.
he's like, I'm not gonna
just
sit
diverted.
on a tall balcony ledge.
Yeah, he just digressed into that immediately, like as if like he just needed to get it on camera. It's what it felt like. I was like, whoa, you just kind of stuffed that in there kind of uncomfortably. Like, and by the way, I'm not going to commit suicide, and I don't take any risks.
I think that's what everybody thinks about when you become a whistleblower. I mean, look what happened to the fucking Boeing
So I was
guy.
on Piers Morgan saying that he's receiving worrisome death threats on a regular basis since coming forward, because he's coming forward and basically saying that the United States government needs to come clean with its citizens over this topic because it's serious, it's big, it's massive. And so then on top of that, Ancient Aliens was one of my favorite shows, dude. I used to watch this show.
I know.
I watched every episode. I loved it. It was a religious experience for me.
I know.
practically.
It's like it's so formulaic though. It's such like they've got the same template every show.
I think with a little practice, I could impersonate every one of them. With a little practice, who were guests on that show. One of their guests, David Wilcock, he has passed by a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
According to the police, they said that they engaged with him. It was like a guy in mental distress call, and they engaged with him in his front lawn, and he did the deed. Right.
Yeah, he did the deed right there.
Outside of his house. And so if there's witnesses,
probably
if there's
cam
body
on that.
camera footage, then I guess we can't conspiratorially.
Well, you don't know what kind of influence his mind was under at all. You have no idea. You can't really comment to that.
I did think about Zootopia because we just watched that movie.
Yes, we did.
And the premise of that movie is that they
Fantastic, by the way. 4.5.
people animals in Zootopia are suddenly going savage.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, maybe he got. I'm not going to spoil it, but
So
It's
I was
like,
just watching his.
because his
He had a live 3 days ago.
yeah,
And
and
he
then
was spirited. He's, you know,
within
and
24
you
hours
can't
he had
tell
a
what
live.
somebody's mental health is like, but the eyes were there.
No, he was
you know?
super calm and like just talking reasonably. Did not seem like somebody in some sort of state of distress. It's
Not at
really
all.
weird.
No, in fact, he at one point said he was talking about the topic of these missing scientists came up, and he said of that he was like, it's terrible, it's frightening. He's like, and that's why I'm just so glad every day to be here, to be alive, to be participating in this thing. Like he was very lively about it. I don't know. Obviously,
It's very
we know
sad.
he took his own life, and we think that's pretty reliable as a report.
I mean, unless the cops are lying, because sometimes they do that.
They have been known to. And
Did you ever read the original report about George Floyd? What they said happened to him?
But that would be a really big
Very,
lie.
very, very fucking false.
Yeah, let's not digress.
Right.
But
I'm Bobo deserves some credit for protecting us from a troll in the
just
chat.
now,
Yeah.
we got protected again.
Yes.
Bobo's just cutting them down like trees, huh? Let's see what the deleted message is.
No, don't go looking for it.
Oh yeah, I get to look. I get to read them. LOL, 13 watching. No wonder. What a joke of a channel. Oh, April, you're so kind. What a sweet person you are. You must have such a great life, being able to like spread such joy wherever you go. That was April's joy.
You're a regular Johnny Appleseed.
Listen to that person coming in here and being kind and complimenting us on our modest but excited crowd.
Way to stay positive, April.
I just love how April's, and she's got the name, the springy name. Like, you know, I here I am planting seeds of life and joy and flowers. Just a great person, you know, just lovely to have her. Thank you, April, for stopping by and being one of 13. You are our lucky one.
I guess I'm not understanding what this whole Rebel Wilson thing is, because I just got a notification that day 4 of Rebel Wilson's hearing is starting in just over an hour.
Is it a hearing or the trial?
Well, that's the thing. It's a hearing, but does that mean it's a trial?
No, I think it's a trial. I think the trial's on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. But in Australia, they call it a hearing.
Perhaps, but I think it's the trial.
Do they have a different justice system than we do?
I haven't been following this trial, and I suppose
Me
I'd
neither.
get more viewers if we did. But you know, honestly, I'm just overwhelmed. If I'm being if I'm being honest, I'm a little overwhelmed. R.I.P. to everyone.
I'm Bobo is slaying dragons here in our chat while doing dishes.
While doing dishes,
Very impressive.
one hand on the dish, the other hand on the delete that motherfucker.
What were you gonna say?
I was going to say that there's a review on Aubrey Plaza's latest movie, Cat Comedy or something. What's it called? I don't know what it's called. Let me see.
She is a busy bee.
Aubrey Plaza?
Yeah, she's
Isn't she like making babies too?
yeah, she's gonna have a baby.
Kevin review. Aubrey Plaza's new cat comedy is so irretrievably bad it must never be allowed to happen again.
You
Is the title.
I am a big fan of film and literary criticism, media criticism of all kinds. But I feel like it's just unnecessary to be so mean. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like it's easy to say that something is shitty if you're not actually one of the types of people that make it. And it makes it seem like if you're a critic who talks like that about other people's artwork, that you don't have the experience of making it. It just makes them seem small and inexperienced, naive,
Well, they're
and
critics.
cruel.
They're critics.
Yes, but there's criticism that is, you can criticize something that you don't like and talk about it differently.
They're writers. She's a critic. She's a journalist. She's totally in her realm. I think I would just.
Do you get what I'm saying, though?
Well, you know, I think that
There's no reason. There's a way to be creative and not be cruel in your criticism. Don't you think that's like rude and shitty? I just don't understand the purpose of it.
Calling it irretrievably bad.
And it should have never been made. Is that what you said?
It must never be allowed to happen again.
I mean, you know, I know this person thinks they're being cute, but it's fucking rude.
Well, they start the article with, "We need to talk about." The show is called Kevin. We need to talk about Kevin. That's how they start the article.
Okay.
So they're
That's
full of it.
A reference.
It is.
The The article is called "We Need to Talk About Kevin."
No, the article is called Kevin Review. Aubrey Plaza's new cat comedy is so irretrievably bad it must never be allowed to happen again.
And so, tell me about what is the reference to "We Need to Talk About Kevin."
The article starts with, "We need to talk about Kevin." That's how the article starts. The article, Angela. Are you?
I know, but
you're looking off in the distance here. We need to talk about Kevin. You know
you're being rude.
I am?
Yes.
We need to, well, I apologize. I'm not meaning to be weird, but we need to talk about Kevin is, the reference to that. It's how she's beginning the article. Anyway, I won't go any further because I've pissed Angela off, so I'll just move on.
I'm just trying to look up what you're reading to me so I can look at it, because I feel like without having eyes on it, I don't understand what you're saying.
It's an article, a review written by Sarah Dempster for The Guardian. We don't really need to get into it any further because I feel like the whole thing's gone flat. Anyway, it's just an article saying that apparently this cartoon by Aubrey Plaza, or somehow Aubrey Plaza is involved.
Oh, I didn't understand this. Okay.
Absolutely terrible.
So
it stars John Waters,
project
Jason Schwartzman, Whoopi Goldberg, and Amy Sedaris.
I'm sorry. The project is titled Kevin.
The project is called Kevin. Yeah, that's what I was trying to.
You said that the article was like the reviewer was called Kevin.
No, Kevin Review. Oh, I see the confusion. Of course.
I'm looking at it now. This is in The Guardian.
It is. Yeah, exactly.
So here is Kevin, an unremarkable cat who lives in an apartment in New York City with unremarkable human couple Dana, who wears a t-shirt, and Dan, who has a beard. Kevin doesn't like being outside and has lower back issues in lieu of a personality.
That's, really well written.
So you don't like fucking cartoons. That's fine.
Well, maybe this cartoon.
Imagine watching a cartoon and being like,
Kevin,
I thought it was dumb.
Kevin,
yeah, it's a cartoon. It's supposed to be dumb.
Kevin also has a protuberant anus, a fact that is repeated with fervor that suggests that the writers believe it to be powerful enough to merit a long-running gag badge. Quote, "Stop talking about your deformed anus," slurs Kevin's alcoholic goose friend Chuck. "It's not deformed," shouts Kevin. "It's prolapsed." And lo, the soul begins its inexorable decline. That does not sound like fun. Anyway, whatever. Don't watch it, according to one writer. I was just going to throw a gag at it, and I kind of failed and fell on my face. Not the first time. Welcome to my life so
check it out. So this is a project involving John Waters, Amy Sedaris,
yes,
Jason Schwartzman,
yes.
Okay, so it's not made for this reviewer.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Sarah Dempster is not the target audience, but John Waters is always gonna he's always gonna make dumb jokes about body parts and gross things.
I don't know if he's writing.
Anyway, whatever. So okay, now that I know.
This Dempster, she recognizes the people behind the show as iconic and amazing, so I don't think she doesn't get those people. But
I wonder why it's called Aubrey Plaza's new cat comedy.
I guess she stars in it?
Yeah, but is it hers? I'm so confused.
I mean, if you say Leonardo DiCaprio's new film,
again,
I am critical.
I am critical of this reviewer for not being fucking clear about what the hell we're talking about.
Well, I didn't read the article. It might be clearer as if the article were read, but so we can't be sure she hasn't. I don't think you can get it all on a title, right? I would say anyway.
I'm looking for Aubrey Plaza's name to see where she's credited. Literally, twice.
As a producer and a
co-creation of comedian Joe Wagner and the previously unimpeachable Aubrey Plaza. Okay, so she's a co-creator.
So that is hers then.
Okay, but
there you go.
She's not mentioned another time.
We can move on.
Okay, that's fine.
Some uplifting news is that The Onion, The Onion. You know The Onion?
Yes.
The political satire.
And they apparently acquired InfoWars.
Yeah.
And they've already turned the O in InfoWars into the Onion logo.
Yeah.
And they've made it rainbow colored.
Yeah.
And apparently
it's fantastic.
Apparently Alex Jones is not being normal about it.
No, I think he's hemorrhaging everywhere.
One thing that's really funny about Alex Jones is that he is the most stressed out guy in all of media.
Hard to believe
But it seems like he doesn't deal with new stress very well at all, even though he's like constantly the stressed guy.
And didn't he beat cancer or something? No, that was Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh died.
Yeah. I know. I shouldn't be as pleased as I am about that.
Somebody was said the other day, and it was this is probably old, but like I thought it was so smart, such a great observation, that they're like, funny how you don't ever think of we never hear about Rush Limbaugh anymore. Now that he's dead, but he was such a huge force in radio media in the right wing. Like how, he basically like transformed how right wingers think, right, for like a generation.
Yeah.
But since he died, nobody ever talks about him anymore, and it's because he literally created nothing.
Exactly.
Like he's not known for anything other than that one show that died with him, and so he's completely irrelevant, totally forgotten.
Yeah, it's like, do you still talk about that storm as significant as it might have been? That wasn't, cataclysmic.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't. It was a storm. You remember it. It was annoying. It was loud. It was everywhere. It caused you to make alter your approach to something.
Like at least Charlie Kirk, obviously we could have very valid criticisms about him, but when he passed away, what he left behind was actually still something that could do something. Rush Limbaugh just like he croaked, and then that was all dust. And so Alex Jones is not being normal about this. He's apparently very upset.
Yeah, he's
not as upset as the parents of the victims who he ridiculed.
I think they're not upset right now. Right now they're like, they what? They took him down. I mean, Alex Jones is a shadow, a shell of his former
whatever.
self.
He's still fucking filthy rich. He's been evading paying them what he owes them.
Yep, and they'll just keep nipping away at it like they do. Hopefully they'll win.
I first heard about Alex Jones.
It's the good news that I'm trying to emphasize here.
Yes, I know.
Good news.
I first heard about Alex Jones in the Richard Linklater movies.
Yeah.
He was in was it A Scanner Darkly? No, it was the previous one. Whatever. He was a Austin personality in the Richard Linklater movies. What was that first one that he rotoscoped?
What was the first one he rotoscoped?
The rotoscope animation.
I can't remember. It wasn't A Scanner Darkly, right?
Animated.
I don't think it matters that much.
Waking Life.
Waking Life, yeah.
Yeah, so young Alex Jones was in that because he was a local Austin personality. He used to be one of those guys with a car. He would have like a megaphone outside his car.
Yeah.
And he would like yell into the megaphone and drive his car around. It's just like, they don't make those anymore. All those types of dudes have podcasts now. And I thought it was I thought that type of like personality was kind of charming, like super eccentric, angry guy. But then he just like, I don't know why he got influence and power, and he just turned into this horrible beast.
Well, we know that these people are, sadly, there's no audience for them. There's people who want to buy into what they're selling, and yeah, it's not always.
He was
fun.
just like a local kook, and now he's like a national problem.
So what have we got? We've got a scientist saying, sorry, I was distracted by the latest fever dream from Team Truth that Marvel was going to replace Ryan Reynolds with Baldoni for Deadpool. Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine?
If they gave Baldoni Ryan Reynolds' character?
Of Deadpool, I mean, that's just the stupidest thing I ever fucking heard.
Who's saying that they would do that?
I
love
know.
that.
Team Truth, I guess. I unsubscribed to It Ends with Lawsuits. I stopped, and you know what? I'm happier.
Yeah.
I'm happier.
Yeah,
I've
that's
actually
what
been
happened.
systematically been getting rid of the negative subs. Like even things like Abrupt Chaos, which I really loved. But Abrupt Chaos, like it got taken over by people being violent to people abruptly.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is just not a part of what I want my day to
It's
go
called a media diet. We're all supposed to cultivate our media intake.
I've been doing better at it. I've been just like, you know what, I got to clean this stuff up a little bit and get me some happy.
M. Serrata said, Alexa, play Mean by Taylor Swift.
I'm glad we don't have Alexa because we'd be dealing with Mean right now. Oh, Lord. That's amazing, said Manderley.
Our scientist said that this was on our Deadpool. That they said that Marvel was going to replace Ryan Reynolds with Justin Baldoni.
Well, it's funny you should say that because that's obviously their nonsense still. They're still, look, I think they're doing nothing but continuing their smear campaign. I think this smear campaign will go on and on and on and on long after the trial, win or lose. That's my prediction right now, that they have the idea of an endless amount of money. Here's the kind of thing that a guy like Steven Saris would do. He'd be like, win or lose, we're never going to stop. I will pay you. You've got a permanent piece of business here. For as long as that woman breathes, do this. For as long as she is taking breath, do this. This is the thing about billionaires. They don't care. They don't play by the same rules. They don't have to. They can buy their mean girl fucking bullshit. They can buy it. Go ahead.
I was just thinking, somebody, I think it was Ex-Patriarch today who was, maybe today, maybe yesterday, I don't know. But he pointed out that Melissa Nathan, maybe it was Rebel Wilson was trying to hire Israeli intelligence people, like former Israeli intelligence firms, to help with the smear campaign.
Yeah, I think I heard
They said that
like
one of the PR companies that Justin Baldoni hired to do like intelligence gathering was a former Israeli like IDF people.
Uh-huh.
But when you saw like the website that apparently of the people that he used, it was like a former police dog trainer and like another person who was like probably had a desk job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just reminded me, I went and I looked again in Ronan Farrow's an incredible book that he wrote titled Catch and Kill. Let me find the longer title. All of this talk about these people who want to conduct smear campaigns and they turn to Israeli intelligence veterans. This was in Catch and Kill. This was in Ronan Farrow's book. His title is Catch and Kill: Lies, Spies, and a Conspiracy to Protect Predators.
Mm-hmm.
And so specifically, he was talking about how Harvey Weinstein was contacted by the former prime minister of Israel saying, hey, for your purposes and what you're looking to do, you should actually use this company, which is called Black Cube. And these people are former Mossad agents, Israeli intelligence agents. And what they did was they
everybody from that country is. I mean, they're not from the intelligence.
No, that's why it's different.
Yeah.
But that's why the people that Justin Baldoni hired were like just Israeli people who had done their...
Yeah, they're like everybody does.
Yeah,
like
their conscription service,
Yeah, exactly.
Which I thought was really funny because Justin Baldoni hired them specifically for reputational like protection, and his reputation is in the fucking ground. So it's like...
I mean, I guess in general it is because it's wrapped up in this controversy.
He didn't pay Black Cube prices. But anyway, so Black Cube apparently... there were documents that Ronan Farrow had been shown where they were referring to Harvey Weinstein as like Mr. X or something. And they said that if he was named in any of the documents that he would get very angry. So they made sure that everybody knew to use this pseudonym. And they came up with like 3 tiers of plans. And it very much looked exactly like what Melissa Nathan did. I mean, this typical... I've been reading some more about crisis PR because I kind of want to understand what they're supposed to do professionally versus what Melissa Nathan was offering.
Yeah.
But this 3-tier plan does seem normal, but what Harvey Weinstein was asking Black Cube to do for him seems a lot more in line with what Melissa Nathan was asking Street Relations and Jed Wallace to do for her in Baldoni.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they packaged it up into a product and sold that product. You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah. They're not gonna one off that. They're gonna be like, hey, this worked. This is effective. I can sell this to other people. It's capitalism.
Yeah, specifically in
101
in Catch and Kill by Ronan Farrow, he talks about how those agents were used to impersonate somebody and contact Rose McGowan, who was one of the victims of Harvey Weinstein. She was seeking justice. So they infiltrated Rose McGowan's life under a false identity and like befriended her, like literally like this spy like went to her house and like befriended her and became close to her and found out all of the things that she was doing so that they could deliver that information back to Weinstein. It's so fucking dark, dude.
Yeah, well, it's certainly traumatic, right? Because at that point you're going to be like, okay, no new people in my life.
Yeah.
I can't have new people in my life.
I read that book, and ever since I have been so paranoid about you and the people that randomly contact you.
No, I know. Every time somebody's contacted me, you're like, it's a mole. It's a mole. They'll be like, hey, Dale, my name is blank. I'm a really big fan of Dawn's Plum, and I would love to ask you some questions. Don't. It's a mole.
Whatever you tell them, you're telling directly to Tobey Maguire. That's what's happening.
I got approached from like a couple of magazines, and you were like, no, it's a mole. I was like, but Angela, it's this magazine.
Look, I'm never telling you not to do things. I'm just telling you to be extra careful when you talk to people because you love to share your plans with people because you're excited, genuinely excited about them.
This article dropped yesterday It says, the title says, a Hollywood exec says Blake Lively, quote, made her bed and now she can lie in it as trial ramps up. This on MSN.
We read that before. I don't know.
No,
Let me see.
We didn't. It dropped a day ago. We didn't read it.
No. The text messages. We've had that since January.
What? Text messages? What are you talking about? That's so random. I'm talking about an article.
Yes. Citing a text message.
No.
That we have had.
No, a Hollywood exec. Let me just read the article, okay?
Why are you so testy today?
It's hard to believe, but it's been almost 2 years since It Ends With Us hit theaters. The book-to-screen adaptation, which is streaming with a Netflix subscription, has become synonymous with the long legal battle between stars Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and now a Hollywood exec has weighed in on the ongoing drama, and he has some harsh words for the Gossip Girl star in particular. In December of 2024, Blake Lively filed a complaint against Wayfair Studios about how she was treated on the set of It Ends With Us. Justin Baldoni fired back with a defamation case. All of that is absolutely completely false, naming both Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And then, you see how they fucked things up, though? Like, that's not even remotely true about the story itself, you know? But okay. I mean, I guess it is. I guess it is. Maybe it is. Naming both Lively and Ryan Reynolds. That's not true. Or did they sue Ryan Reynolds?
Yes.
Well, that was stupid. An anonymous insider who allegedly worked with her spoke to Daily Mail about the ongoing drama. Daily Mail again. The ongoing drama, saying, quote, this lawsuit has ruined her in Hollywood. The truth is she was never that popular. Do you fucking believe this?
Who is this?
Unnamed Hollywood executive.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's Jamie Heath.
To the Daily Mail.
It's Jamie Heath that's saying this.
To the Daily Mail.
He's a Hollywood executive, right?
To the Daily fucking Mail. This lawsuit has ruined her in Hollywood, said this source a day ago. The truth is she was never that popular. She had a reputation for being difficult, one of those toxic people who always thinks she knows best. Doesn't that sound like a dude, first of all?
It sounds like Jamie Heath.
It sounds like a dude, doesn't it? Well, she does say it is a dude. Yikes, said the writer. This person didn't mince their words. Like, you see how they're just like veiling everything? Now it's behind this article, this writer who's like, I'm totally objective. You'll see. I'm not going to read the whole article, even though there's only another 2 paragraphs of it, but it's fucking... The anonymous individual went so far as to say that she made her bed and she can lie in it with the ongoing legal saga, and that folks in Hollywood are not shedding tears over her. So they keep rehashing the same so-called source and parsing it into these smaller fucking bites and, you know, rolling them out so that people can... And, you know, when I read the article sent to me from a friend, thank you, friend, it had like 20 some odd likes and like, I don't know, like a handful of comments. It's now up to 156 likes. Speaking of likes, I'll take some likes on this live, even if you saw me getting my ass kicked by the love of my life just moments ago.
What do you mean?
You know, because I screwed up.
Are we fighting?
No, we're not fighting. I mean, maybe later. But right now we're fine. Right now everything is great. No, of course we're fucking great. We're wonderful.
All Scientists. So I remember All Scientists remembers the name of the intelligence agency that Justin Baldoni hired.
Engaged?
Yes, but when you look at who they're actually made of, it's like,
you know, they're like a bunch of fucking overweight fucking,
like literally a dog trainer.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
why would you? It's just because what happens is that they do their conscription service, right? So like when you're like 18 or something and you're an Israeli, like you have to join the IDF.
Yeah.
And then they understand that that's something that you can market to like naive Americans who don't have that same thing in their country.
Yeah.
Anyway, All Scientist remembers the name of it is Sourced Intelligence.
Sourced intelligence.
And All Scientist says Sourced Intelligence was hired by both Rebel Wilson and Wayfair. We found out in the McInnes trial that the report on Amanda Ghost that Sourced Intelligence created for Rebel Wilson contained childhood photos of Amanda and her husband and their social media passwords. And their passwords. See, this is what they hire the intelligence agencies to do, man.
Yeah.
Fucking hack their shit and then tell you how to get into it. It's
So
crazy.
I'm convinced that the smear campaign against Blake Lively is going to last the rest of her life, if not certainly many, many, many more years.
Yeah, for sure. With all of this information, All Scientists said that Judge Limine denied Lively's motion to compel the report that Source Intelligence created about her.
That's a bummer.
I know. I feel like that's something she should be allowed to have. That's crazy.
I wonder. Well, I'd love to read it. Is it posted somewhere? I'd love to read his reasoning behind that.
The denial.
Yeah.
A scientist says, I just assume unnamed source in this case is Melissa Nathan.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
So
I found this really interesting. I wanted to just show you these documents that I've been reading lately about their arguments in court with Judge Limine and the Wayfarer parties and Lively arguing back and forth about this.
okay.
They all have these documents have a table of contents, so you can kind of just like skim through and see what's up. And I thought that this one was really interesting. This is Wayfarer's response to Lively's omnibus memorandum in support of her motions in Limine. Okay? That's a mouthful.
Yeah, we haven't read it all yet, but okay.
We haven't read it all yet, but I just wanted to share with you this table of contents because it's really hilarious.
Okay.
So these are the things that Blake Lively is trying to prevent. And these are the things that Wayfarer thinks that they should have. Okay?
Okay.
Opposition to plaintiff's motion that defendants should be permitted to present evidence of Lively's reputation before the alleged smear campaign. Okay?
Yeah.
They want to show the jury that Blake Lively actually didn't have an awesome reputation beforehand. Articles and evidence establishing Lively's pre-existing reputation are not inadmissible hearsay or character evidence. They also say the probative value of evidence relating to Lively's reputation far outweighs its potential prejudice. Articles depicting Lively's pre-existing reputation are not lay opinion. Okay? That's their arguments.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is opposition to plaintiff's motion saying defendants should be permitted to offer evidence concerning Lively's abuse of New York's legal system. And they're talking about the Van Zandt lawsuit? No, that wasn't New York.
No,
When did Lively abuse New York's legal system?
I have no idea.
Okay, maybe I should read that.
I don't know to what they are referring.
This next one's my favorite. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Opposition to plaintiff's motion. Wayfarer thinks that Ryan Reynolds' creation of the nice pool and lady pool scenes to publicly shame Baldoni in Deadpool and Wolverine is relevant to Wayfarer's motive for engaging a crisis manager.
Let me. Oh, they're saying that was part of the cause?
They want the jury to hear that Ryan Reynolds created a nice pool character and that he had lady pool kill nice pool. Sorry, spoiler, guys. But because they're saying that that he deliberately did that to publicly shame Baldoni.
Okay.
In the movie Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And they want the jury to hear that because they think it's relevant to Wayfarer's motive for engaging a crisis manager.
That's not going to fly. First of all, that's not going to fly. So, that's such a bad move by them because it's going to, not only is it stupid, and obviously he can parody anything he wants as an entertainer and a writer, but also it has nothing to do. That doesn't mean he can retaliate against Blake Lively.
That's right.
The problem is,
I'm kind of hoping they win it just so they can get torched.
A fucking lawyer is going to be like, but they retaliated against Blake Lively.
You see how they have beef with Ryan Reynolds for no fucking reason, and they're using this like huge. You see how the crisis PR was never intended to improve Justin Baldoni's reputation. You see how the crisis PR was always intended to attack Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
Okay, this next one. Defendants' opposition to plaintiff's motion. They want evidence about Lively's and Ryan Reynolds' net worth and their financial status. They say it's relevant to Lively's power broker theory. Okay, next one.
Okay, I have a hard time believing that should be introduced.
They said that defendants should be permitted to use internal Sony communications to rebut Lively's trial arguments. When they're arguing about Blake Lively in Sony.
Yeah.
Wayfarer wants to use that to attack Blake Lively in the trial.
Did they say why?
Well, it's interesting because Sony seemed like they thought that Blake Lively was acting out of pocket, right? That she was being unreasonable because they did not know, because Ange Giannetti had not reported to others what she heard about Justin Baldoni's behavior on set. So when Blake Lively saw that Justin Baldoni was making like teenage sex scenes and adding all of these other sex scenes and all this other stuff, and she was like, I think that I need to have a better involvement in the edit because I'm certainly not going to be attached to a film that has a bunch of fucking gratuitous sex in it that I didn't sign up for. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, Sony doesn't necessarily know all that context because Ange Giannetti and everybody was so insular. They weren't reporting to these executives who think that Blake Lively is just being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And so the Wayfarer wants to use those internal text messages between Sony, from Sony to Sony, right? Where they're talking about Blake Lively being a pain in the ass. Because they didn't have the whole picture. Because they weren't aware of what Justin Baldoni was doing.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's going to be interesting because that, I mean, we'll see how that goes. GBB, is all I'm going to say of that name, said that it was Blake Lively who killed Nice Pool, her character,
Yes.
played by her. Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense. But even so, it's
Spoilers.
it's I didn't know that, but it doesn't matter because it's still like it's not Justin Baldoni by name. So they're just going and admitting something that is left for people's imagination. And it doesn't matter. Look, Justin Baldoni could have gone and done some fucking Blake Lively parodies in his life if he wanted to. And she wouldn't have a fucking leg to stand on.
Nobody would even have made the connection if Justin Baldoni's own lawyer hadn't cried about it on like publicly on the fucking Megyn Kelly show.
Even if they did, it would be an eye roll, bro. Nobody would give a fucking shit. Like that's not reputational harm. If anything, that's building on the Streisand effect potentially, you know?
Yep, exactly.
And creating curiosity around him. It's actually better for him. You know what they say, you know, the old adage, the only bad press is no press, you know? There's no such thing as, you know, and obviously that's not entirely true because we know what a smear campaign can do. But
no, but that's just a way to silver lining bad press, right?
And that's also dispute stuff. Like people like that they're having a tiff. Like there's a difference between a tiff and utterly trying to destroy somebody's career. So
we have probably
I think a jury should be able to know the difference here.
We have all probably consumed so much media that was designed by the people on the inside to make fun of somebody they thought was fucking intolerable in Hollywood. And we just don't know it because it was an inside joke. It's probably been like in hundreds of movies and TV shows where like the villain is specifically constructed to look exactly like this one person. Didn't they say that about fucking Back to the Future and like Donald Trump or something, that it's like so that Biff's character was like a model of him? Do you know?
I don't remember, but
whatever. It's just happened a gazillion times.
Of course, people write what they know.
Yeah, so it's like it's inside until somebody like Baldoni and his lawyer are dumb enough to make it outside. You know,
it's still protected, first of all, and secondly, because it's fucking their First Amendment, and they're not even talking about the dispute or anything to do with the dispute between them. It's not the character's name is Nice Pool, not Justin Baldoni. And yes, you know, to quote Brian Friedman, any moron would know that they were making fun of Justin Baldoni, which was just the weirdest admission because I did see the clip of Nice Pool. I didn't see that. I didn't. Well, maybe I did see Blake Lively kill him and not remember. But whatever. I did see the clip, the exchange between him and or exchanges between him and Ryan Reynolds' character, and I mean, it was like obviously a ridiculously stupid, awful, horrible character. Like to go and say it was obviously my client was such a fucking misstep in my opinion. I was like, so you agree?
That character is totally insufferable. He's got to be exactly making fun of my client.
Look, here's the thing about, so a scientist said Baldoni coming out, wait, no. Lively maintains that Sony asked her to work on the alternate edit after the March screening. More to that is that it is only referred to by Ange Giannetti in the deposition as the Sony cut.
That's right.
She calls it the Sony cut throughout that. She said, yes, Blake Lively, led the Sony cut, et cetera, et cetera. And it is absolutely like, I can't imagine they won't have an expert to say it's totally standard for a producer to to lead the studio cut. One of the active producers in the film to lead the studio cut. Sometimes that producer is a Sony executive, but more often it's somebody more creatively tied on a producerial level to the movie. More often. Not always.
Okay, this next one, opposition to plaintiff's motion in Limine, number 6. Defendants should be permitted to respond to Lively's argument that the defense in this litigation constitutes retaliation by offering testimony concerning the impact this litigation has had on them.
Is this Blake Lively?
This is the Wayfair parties are arguing that these things should be allowed in their trial.
Well, say it again.
Defendants should be permitted to respond to Blake Lively's argument. Her argument being that the defense in this litigation constitutes retaliation. Okay? And the defendants want to offer testimony concerning the impact this litigation has had on them.
Again, that's not going to give them permission to retaliate with overprotected material. They're not going to be able to, that you can't be like, I had a reason. There's no such thing as self-defense in this situation. If there's smearing involved.
Yeah, so what are they going to do? Like, so Blake Lively sued us, and we were so upset that we sued Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Sloan, the New York Times, and Blake Lively, you know?
Yeah, G is saying she wasn't a producer at this time. That is not true. She was a producer from day one.
Day one, yeah.
She was an executive producer.
That's right.
And you can pretend you know what that is, but I actually do. I am a producer. I've worked in Hollywood. I know the game. And executive producers, see Harvey Weinstein, are often well, I'll just say this about executive producers, and it's the same for producers. All the producer credits can be vanity credits. Like any individual who has a producer credit, including producer itself, can be a vanity credit.
Yeah, but she was collaborating as a producer.
Well, people are trying to say that, but they're not defined as such.
Right.
There's an assumption. It's not. You don't sit there and you don't write a contract saying you are getting a vanity credit for producer, and nobody's getting a producer credit with the caveat, we're giving you the credit, but shut the fuck up and sit in the corner. That's not what happens, and neither is there an expectation to do so. The reason why it's called a vanity credit is because more often than not, the person requesting credit wants the credit for vanity purposes, not because they're instructed to behave in such a manner. So Blake Lively's executive producer credit was not a credit that she accepted as a vanity credit whatsoever.
From the very first meeting, and this is according to Justin Baldoni's own filings, right? So he admits this. This isn't even an argument that he's making, okay? Justin Baldoni said that in the very first meeting, she wanted to be a producer on the film. And they negotiated that she would be an executive producer instead. So from the very beginning, they knew that she wanted to be a producer on the film.
Correct. Her intent was well known prior to any...
There is no way that somebody who voices their intention and their desire to be an actual producer on the film would be satisfied with an executive producer credit as simply a vanity credit where she doesn't do anything.
Correct. And that's
according to Justin Baldoni. So it's like you're making an argument that the Wayfair parties aren't even making.
Yeah. And in fact, one of Blake Lively's questions was to Jamie Heath about the dailies was, are the other producers getting to see the fucking dailies?
Yeah.
You know, so that's not somebody who's expecting their role as executive producer to be an executive producer in vain. They're expecting to be participating on a producerial level, and reality is, well, I won't say reality, and it certainly looks like she was being prejudiced against in that moment when it came to the dailies. Including, by the way, not limited to her, because we have testimony from Colleen Hoover, who says that in all of her previous films, she is always invited to watch all of the dailies, never with question. Always, the filmmakers have always been willing to listen to her and when she's ready to offer notes and insight and things that are important to the integrity of the underlying material. So this wasn't just something that they were doing to Blake Lively; they were also doing it to Colleen Hoover. And I'll say this again, as I've said it 100 times on this live, that Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath didn't know what they were getting into when it came to working with a #1 best-selling piece of property and an author of such, right? And a bona fide A-list movie star. They had not yet done that in their career. This was the first opportunity to do that. And the game changes when that happens. You know, it just changes. The set changes. The rules on the set change. Behavior changes when you add A-list material. Bottom line. And that's what happened here. 100%. They got into a situation. They thought they could run the set the way they run, a set where they're the basically the stars. And that's just not the case in this situation.
This next one, I don't know if I totally understand this. I think I might have to read the section that this is just the table of contents. Opposition to plaintiff's motion in Limine number 7. Defendants should be allowed to introduce Lively's own statements for impeachment purposes and to show the common practice of using public relations statements by the parties and their counsel to shape public opinion. I have to figure out what that is.
Can you just read it one more time? Because I want to see if I can get a...
The defendants in the case, the Wayfarer parties, okay? That should be allowed to introduce Lively's own statements for impeachment purposes.
Well, yes, if they're relevant.
I know, weird, right? And to show the common practice of using public relations statements by the parties and their counsel to shape public opinion.
Well,
Maybe
there's a difference between, there's going to be a difference between, and this will be interesting to see how this argues, because there's obviously a difference between shaping public opinion. No, my client felt offended on the set and felt like things were going wrong and so on and so forth. And then his shaping public opinion. I think she's overreacting. The set was run fine. I think the evidence is in the movie itself. It's a shame Blake Lively didn't feel the same way as we felt, that we had a great product from top to bottom, right?
Let me just
like that's shaping it. Calling her a liar, calling her running up the budget, trying to destroy her reputation is where the line is crossed.
Okay, this is what this says. Lively seeks to exclude her public statements and those of her counsel relating to the case released in response to the court's ruling on defendants' dispositive motions. In the first instance, these public statements by Lively's counsel, Michael Gottlieb and Sigrid McCauley, a lawyer apparently engaged to handle public relations, are crafted to sway public opinion in Lively's favor and may have the effect of tainting the jury pool. The opening sentence in Mr. Gottlieb's official statement is a gratuitous swipe at Wayfarer's counsel. Okay? Here it is.
Yeah.
This is Gottlieb. It is completely unsurprising that Brian Friedman does not understand the court's actual ruling.
I love that. I mean, come on, bro. You can't take an academic fucking jab. This is the asshole who went on fucking on Megyn Kelly and called Blake Lively
and tried to call that official business.
Yeah,
right?
and now he's sad because he just got academically slapped about the face.
Gottlieb said it's completely unsurprising that Brian Friedman does not understand the court's actual ruling. He didn't even argue the summary judgment motion he's now spinning, had to bring in another law firm for the trial, and just last week was reprimanded by the court for having filed the legally frivolous claims. Gottlieb further states that the fact that Brian Friedman is claiming exoneration based on legal technicalities while facing trial next month tells you everything you need to know.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
This personal attack on counsel is equal to or worse than anything for which Lively has filed serial sanctions motions. Lively reposted, so they just want the jury to hear it because they're just stamping their feet.
Yeah.
Like this is over. Lively reposted Gottlieb's statement on her own Instagram. A community note on Instagram attempts to correct the misstatements in Lively's release by advising Instagram users that Gottlieb's statement. Okay, this community note, by the way, can be posted by any Instagram user. So of course they're using this for PR too.
Yeah.
They're saying it contains cherry-picked information, and everybody's like, oh, okay, so that's definitely the Wayfair people putting their own community note on Lively's post. Okay. In any event, the press release of Lively and her surrogates are relevant press releases. Okay, so they just want to include press releases. Lively's statements provide more legitimate fodder for examination. Lively asserts that physical pain and abuse from digital violence is a threat to women and children. The statement includes vague and unsupported statistics, such as purported studies that estimate that between 16 and 58% of women have experienced online abusive stalking, with 97% of gender-based violence service providers reporting technology-facilitated abuse in their cases. Lively avers that these issues, which have not been previously raised by Lively or her experts, will be the heart of the case that she intends to bring at trial. Okay, so they want to litigate Blake Lively's Instagram post, and they also want to tell the jury that they think that her statistics about women being abused by people online is somehow fake. Like, what are they doing? They're gonna look so fucking bad. They're gonna look like they're trying to do more smear campaign at the trial. This is nuts. So it's so weird how often she'll make some statement that everybody can get behind, which is that violence against women should never be tolerated, right? There's too much violence against women, and it should also never be tolerated. And you'll see these things from the Wayfair parties arguing, like screaming about it, being like trying to silence her or trying to litigate what she said. Like, how is this the guy who is like a staunch pro-feminist ally, right? And this is the legal team in their arguments? It's just, it's nuts to me.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about, these things, they argue everything. They're not going to like, they want to put everything in front of the judge that they think can get stricken down, even if they know that their chances, if they think they have a 5% chance, they're going to file it.
She's saying, I don't think that my Instagram posts belong in a trial about events that occurred like, a while ago. And they're arguing that they should be brought in. That's no way that's going to last. Okay. This last one, opposition to plaintiff's motion in Limine number 8. Defendants should be permitted to present the testimony of non-party Kirsty Flaw to respond to plaintiff's expert and trial argument that defendants were responsible for boosting the insensitive Little Bump interview with Lively. Are you with me?
Yes, Angela, I'm listening to every word. We know that they're trying to get that in, and we'll see if it works. Defense
witness list includes entertainment reporter Kirsty Flaw, who will testify about her interview of Lively and Flaw's republication of that interview in 2024. The 2016 interview went viral as a result of Lively's derogatory Little Bump comment to Flaw. Lively, that's so weird that they call it derogatory when Kirsty Flaw brought it up first. Lively flashed back with a nasty comment on Flaw's Little Bump. Okay, I'm sorry. When Flaw noted Lively's Little Bump, Lively flashed back with a nasty comment on Flaw's Little Bump. Flaw, however, was not pregnant, was highly offended, and made her extreme displeasure known in her post. The remark, coupled with Lively's huffy demeanor...
I get high blood pressure with this fucking woman. Like, I feel it in my head. It's the cause of headaches.
Because honestly, like... Okay, Dale and I are astrologers, and a lot of what we do is we help people find their purpose in life. And I just do not believe for a fucking second that Kirsty Flaw is following her purpose.
Her purpose in life is to just and you look at she's got a history.
To like badger
she's got a history with
celebrity.
Other stars. No, she's got a history with other ones too.
Oh my God.
She's got like a Fassbender or whatever. She's got this fucking she picks these fights because it's the way in which she's a vampire.
She needs to liberate herself.
She's
from
a fucking vampire,
shackles.
bro. Who knew Kirsty Flaw until now? Who knew her? Who cared about her? Absolutely fucking nobody. That's who. She had nothing. She was a fucking, a fucking absolute nothing.
Lively
and I can't wait because I hope that, I'm sorry, but I hope that in her cross-examination, I hope they're going, how much money have you made? How many posts have you made?
Yeah, I know. It's important.
How many views have you garnered?
It is, as the Wayfair parties here are saying in their document, that it is a central focus of one of her experts' testimony. I mean, I'm sorry, there's many, but...
Yeah, Kirsty Flaw is a fucking...
Okay, so listen, this is the argument
vampire.
This is the argument that Wayfair is doing. Should I not talk about this? Are you getting too hot about it?
You keep going.
Lively has cited the August 2024 resurgence of the Flaw's Little Bump interview as evidence of defendants' alleged efforts to seed the internet with negative stories. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's fucking clear.
Yeah.
Implying that defendants and their counsel were behind the republication and or amplification. Lively's own online manipulation expert, Aaron Kulata, mentions the Little Bump interview 43 times in his expert report. He mentions Flaw by name 10 times. Kulata's entire YouTube opinion is based solely on the Little Bump video, opening that indicia of a campaign to manipulate online discussion of Lively in August 2024 are apparent, based on increased use of the word bully in comments of Flaw's Little Bump video on YouTube. In addition, Lively's Second Amended complaint cites articles regarding the Little Bump video to support her allegation that nearly decade-old interviews of Miss Lively were surfaced, commented on her tone, posture, diction, and language, implying that defendants were somehow responsible. Nevertheless, Lively seeks to exclude Flaw's testimony and evidence related to the interview. Lively first argues that the testimony lacks any tendency to make a material fact more or less probable and is inconsequential to Miss Lively's claims. Quite the contrary, the incident of the interview is relevant to Lively's reputation before it was allegedly damaged by the Wayfair defendants. That's so interesting because literally nobody was talking about it.
No.
They wouldn't have hired Blake Lively for the role if they knew that she had a bad reputation.
She didn't have a bad reputation. The movie did $340 fucking million in the box office.
This is the thing. It's like Schrodinger's Blake Lively's reputation.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
It's either garbage or it's stellar, like Justin Baldoni described it.
Right.
When he was in text messages, thrilled that she might take the role.
Of course. And listen to me when I tell you that it's a fucking major fucking studio like Sony that's been in the game for 100.
Yeah. They're going to know
more than 100
reputation.
Years. They're not going to back a scarred reputation. They're not going to do it unless that reputation has such, like, they might do it with a DiCaprio or they might do it with like a Dwayne Johnson because they have these big giant fucking billion billion box office pasts, so they'll see if the well still runs deep. But with Blake Lively, they're not going to take a chance. They're just not gonna. You know, even if she did have that other blockbuster smash hit with that horror film that she did, that one also did like some serious fucking multi-$100 million or whatever.
The shark one?
The plantation wedding. Come on, G. Yeah, well, let me tell you something before the plantation. Well, let me tell you something about the plantation wedding, G. After the fucking plantation wedding, they hired her. You know why? Because the plantation wedding didn't harm her reputation. I mean, it might have scarred it a little bit. It might have given her a bump or whatever. And by the way, I'm critical of it to this day, as they are.
Reese Witherspoon got married on a plantation, did she not?
Reese Witherspoon did get married on a plantation.
And she continues to work.
Yeah, she has no problems with it because it's a bump in the road. It's like a bad decision. And yeah, while it certainly didn't look good, it did not destroy her reputation.
That plantation, which also happens to be where The Notebook was filmed,
correct,
was voted
a love story
in 2018. According to like Southern Living magazine or something, named it the best wedding venue of the year. It's like, this is not. It's obviously controversial, but it's not uncommon for people to get married on plantations.
It's what they use it for. They're literally using it
event
as
spaces where they have old trees, and everywhere else in the South that used to have those pretty old trees has been fucking decimated by fucking developments. You know.
See, what's interesting is that G's making fun of a bump, and I think you should make fun of a bump because Kirstie Flaw saying a bump is just a bunch of bullshit, isn't it? It doesn't constitute the ruining of a career. There's no way that the video exchange, the interview exchange on that video between Blake Lively and Kirstie Flaw amounts to anything worth ruining a career over. That's never happened in Hollywood ever.
Okay, so Wayfarer wants Kirstie Flaw to tell the jury all about what happened with her republishing this video.
She blew up, got a big channel, started making tens of thousands of dollars a month.
No. What happened to make her do it in the first place?
Oh, wow. She saw the movie and she was reminded of the horrible way in which she was treated years and years ago.
That's their story.
That altered her state. And she was like, you know what? Now's the time. You know what it makes her look like? A leech. It makes her look like a fucking leech. That's what it makes it look like. Blake Lively had to, because she said she went and saw the movie. The movie was tracking as one of the biggest openings of that period and turned out to break records in its genre in all Hollywood box office history, and she used it like every leech does, and who lives such a lifestyle for her own gain.
Okay, so the next thing I was going to read is just continuing the document that we started yesterday.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
please.
Okay, so what is this called? This is Plaintiff Blake Lively's Omnibus Memorandum of Law in Opposition to Defendant's Motion in Limine. That's a mouthful. Okay, so I was on.
This is the Limine, right?
Did I say Limine?
Yeah.
These brand new habits die hard, I guess. It's like I haven't even heard this word before last week, and I already don't know.
I think
I've already screwed up.
I looked it up, and it's either Limine or Limine.
It's Limine, I know.
Or Limine.
Because just last week I learned this word for the very first time and I pronounced it wrong. Now it's like etched.
Yeah.
I can't fix it.
No. That helped me with an innovative.
Innovative. Oh my God, that's the worst.
Kidding, of course.
Okay. Opposition to defendant's motion in Limine number 9 to preclude evidence relating to Brian Friedman.
Yeah, let's hear this.
Defendants attempt to preclude in a single concluding sentence without any argument or citation to authority any mention of Brian Friedman. The court should reject that argument not just because it lacks any supporting authority or argument, or because it fails to specify the evidence it seeks to. I'm sorry. The court should reject that argument not just because it lacks any supporting authority or argument, or because it fails to specify the evidence it seeks to exclude. That's interesting. So they're trying to exclude it, but they aren't even citing what they're trying to exclude.
They're just saying that it's Brian Friedman. Nobody gets to talk about him.
Keep his name out your mouth.
Nobody gets to talk about Brian Friedman ever. He's Brian Friedman.
But also,
he's daddy.
Because it would implicate a significant amount of evidence documenting the defendant's retaliation campaign separate and apart from Friedman's voluminous media appearances. For example, Blake Lively's people say,
yes.
As the court referenced in its summary judgment order, one important piece of evidence reflecting steps to harm, that's a quote, steps to harm, Lively's reputation, was the group chat that Friedman started amongst his colleagues, clients, and influencer Sage Steele to discuss how to use Sage Steele to create a video that can go viral. That's a quote, can go viral with the appearance of being organic. That's also a quote.
Amazing that they want to preclude they want to preclude that when their defense is
he's at the scene of the crime.
But when their defense is that the backlash against her was organic.
Yeah,
and then they're literally plotting to try and make it look organic.
How to make a smear video look organic? Yeah,
I mean, good fucking luck with that.
Friedman appears elsewhere as well, including an admission by Melissa Nathan that he attempted to intimidate Jenny Slate from participating in Lively's case. Communications with media outlets and social media personalities designed to procure negative coverage of Lively, and even threatening media outlets with patently frivolous lawsuits if they did not bow to his demands. I remember seeing those too. He was like sending threat letters to people. Friedman's apparent regrets regarding his own words and conduct do not provide a basis to exclude demonstrably relevant evidence.
Really? So he has acknowledged some regret? Is that true?
No, they're saying he doesn't want to. No, that's just, I think they're just being snotty because they're like, listen, he regrets.
Oh, his regrets. Oh, like
he doesn't want
walk
you to
of
talk
shame.
about it.
The walk of shame. Okay.
It would be really bad if we knew what he said, so he doesn't want us to talk about it.
But by walk of shame, I am not saying just women here. Clarification.
Let me just see.
I should probably not use that term
citations.
Anymore.
What?
I should probably not use that term anymore, actually.
What? Walk of shame?
Yeah, because it's basically women. It's so shitty.
It's less of like a walk of shame of what they obviously stayed out.
No, the walk of shame is the condition you're in.
They slept. Yeah, no, it's like the walk of shame that you weren't prepared with like a change of clothes in your purse.
Right. You're walking with your hair all fucked up and
and your heels in your hands. Okay, defendant's main objection to Friedman's media statements relies on the false premise that they are relevant only to Lively's defamation claim. But Friedman's statements to the media are not only are directly relevant to the retaliation, they are also part of the retaliatory campaign. I mean, I think that's very obvious.
Yeah.
In response to Lively's CRD complaint, defendants continued their retaliatory campaign with a baseless lawsuit and defamatory statements. That's a quote from, I guess, one of the filings. Okay. In its order denying summary judgment as to Lively's retaliation claim under FEHA, the court explained that there, in quotes, comes a point where the accused stops simply defending him or herself and starts taking action that a reasonable jury could view as retaliation. And the court provided examples of key messaging that crosses the line, including suggesting that Lively had a less than favorable reputation in the industry and that Lively had made marketing missteps. As Lively has consistently alleged, defendants retained Friedman specifically because of his reputation for being willing to bury his client's opponents. And this is pretty evident in the text messages between them. The ones that Stephanie Jones turned over to Lively. In quotes. Okay?
Yes, I'm here.
Brian, as he's not well respected, but he's a killer and would bury Blake. That's a quote from one of the fucking publicists. Oh my God.
I love how they were like so honest with each other. Not really like, cause on the one
hand, he's not well respected, but he's a killer and he would bury Blake.
It's just so weird that on the one hand, they were like, watch what we say because, this could be litigious. And then on the other hand, not watching what they're saying, like they had to know that was going to become a part of discovery.
Meanwhile, Sarowitz vowed to use all of his resources if Lively crossed the line, and he had lawyers ready to go. Sure enough, after Lively filed her CRD complaint, an act unquestionably protected by the FEHA, this quote, forbidding retaliation because the person has filed a complaint, testified, or assisted in any proceeding under this part. Okay, Friedman promised to sue anyone associated with Lively's CRD complaint into oblivion.
The interview is it was like a shocking thing. I did a whole response to it that I didn't actually publish, but I did a whole response to it, watching the whole video. I can't even believe that he was able to get away with that.
Into oblivion. He was feeling like real hot shot.
And his shit got obliterated into oblivion, which is the funny thing.
Defendant's retaliatory lawsuit followed, and channeling further retaliatory messaging through counsel was part of the strategy to capitalize on its public impact. Brian Friedman's colleagues recommended that defendants take advantage of the litigation privilege to launder more retaliatory statements into the public. Friedman repeated these same key messaging points in his statements to the media on behalf of his clients, including by stating that Lively filed the CRD complaint as a, quote, desperate attempt to fix her negative reputation.
Yep.
She filed this lawsuit because, in quote, she quite simply could not accept that the public had organically seen through her facade.
Yeah.
And that Lively made, in quotes, threats in order to be, quote, be in control of marketing the movie. As discussed above in Lively's opposition to defendants, number 5, Friedman's statements trumpeted defendants' narrative of Lively to the public, purportedly based on defendants' allegations in their retaliatory lawsuit, that the court later concluded largely was not just meritless, but objectively baseless. And as discussed below in Lively's opposition to defendants number 16, those statements retain independent relevance. Bless you. May you be blessed.
And you?
Those statements retain independent relevance for purposes of measuring damages attributable to defendants' retaliatory conduct. Whether Friedman's statements meet the elements of defamation or are subject to any privilege is thus irrelevant. The statements are directly relevant to Lively's surviving retaliation claim. And here's a footnote. Defendants' prediction that such evidence would sacrifice privileges fundamental to our system of justice ignores not only that the court sanctioned Friedman for filing some of the very same claims they now seek to shield as privileged, but also that the court already has held that communications for the purpose of Friedman obtaining public relations advice are not privileged. So there. Defendants' Rule 403 argument that the jury will independently believe that defamation and defamation damages are still issues is far too remote to justify their remedy. It presumes both that the jury cannot follow its instructions and that the jury would have followed the case details sufficiently closely to understand that there was once a defamation claim, but no longer. If arguendo there exists, I don't know what arguendo.
Arguendo. Come on, you know what that is.
If arguendo, that's a great character name for like one of your characters is a lawyer.
Arguendo
and his
is a
last
great
name is
dog
arguendo.
Name. Arguendo is a Latin legal term for in arguing. It's like a great dog name.
So if you have a character who's a lawyer,
yeah,
that's his last name.
Mr. Arguendo?
Yes.
Mr. Arguendo? Nothing, Your Honor.
If arguendo there exists that a concern, the proper recourse is not excluding relevant information, but rather asking jurors via voir dire whether they have such knowledge, and if so, if it would impede their ability to evaluate fairly the claims presented to them. Okay, next one. Opposition to defendant's motion in Limine number 10, to preclude evidence and argument concerning retaliation in anticipation of future protected activity. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Defendants attempt to preclude Lively from introducing evidence and argument concerning defendants' anticipatory retaliation measures is contrary to both governing law and the record before the court. This is Lively's side saying this, right? Their motion incorrectly asserts that retaliation can only be based on past protected activity, and that is not the law under California Fair Employment and Housing Act, the FEHA, which governs Lively's retaliation claims. California courts have expressly recognized that FEHA protects employees against preemptive retaliation. Indeed, adopting the limitation that defendants are urging here would create a perverse incentive for employers to retaliate against employees before they have an opportunity to complain or oppose unlawful conduct or file claims regarding FEHA violations. Here's a quote.
Obviously, again, is the law's going to allow you to preemptively retaliate as opposed to, prevent you and at the same time preventing you from doing it when there's an actual
It's weird because
filing or whatever complaint.
It's strange because Justin Baldoni in his own deposition is talking about how he hired a crisis PR firm and put together all of the smear campaign planning.
Yeah.
In anticipation of her doing a protected activity, which is to publicly complain and
hired an army of publicists who did nothing but wait around and then he continued.
Yeah.
He wants the jury. He has to convince a jury that they continue to pay publicists.
No.
To
this
do
is
nothing.
A different point that I'm making. What I'm saying is that Justin Baldoni said that he preemptively designed a smear campaign
Yes.
to get out in front of it.
Yes.
But they want Blake Lively to not be able to talk about the preemptive nature of it. Like he says it. They don't want her to be able to say it. They don't want her to tell the truth of the story according to Justin Baldoni.
Well,
You know?
it doesn't matter because it falls under FEHA anyway.
It's fucking crazy though.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it does.
Okay, employer, this is a quote from the law, okay? The legislative purpose underlying FEHA's prohibition against retaliation is to prevent employers from deterring employees from asserting good faith discrimination complaints. Employer retaliation against employees who are believed to be prospective complainants or witnesses for complainants undermines this legislative purpose just as effectively as retaliation after the filing of a complaint. To limit FEHA in such a way would be to condone an absurd result. So if the employee is believed to be a prospective complainant, you're not allowed to do shit about it.
Of course. I mean, how could you? It's just the most stupidest thing to think that you could. It's like, well, I think she's going to complain. Let's destroy her now.
Of
Well,
course.
it's still legal.
Accordingly, evidence that defendants acted to punish or deter Lively from further opposing unlawful conduct or anticipating that she may file an administrative complaint or a lawsuit, both of which are protected by the participation clause under the government code section, is squarely relevant and admissible. Tellingly, defendants rely largely on federal authority interpreting Title VII and New York state and local retaliation statutes, none of which govern Lively's FEHA claims. While California courts draw guidance from Title VII case law, FEHA departs in key respects, including that it protects employees against preemptive retaliation. Let's see. Even if the court did look to defendants' Title VII cases, they are inapposite. Do you know what that means?
No, I'll look it up for us.
It's opposite, but with an A instead of an O. So INAPP.
I know how to do it. You don't have to. You don't have to. Yeah, I understand the difference between the two letters. Inapposite is an adjective meaning not pertinent, suitable, or relevant to the situation,
Why
often
don't they
describing
just say irrelevant?
often describing inappropriate remarks, arguments, or choice. Well, because it's more than that. It's inapposite, which often describes inappropriate remarks, arguments, or choices, which irrelevant doesn't necessarily imply the inappropriateness.
Even if the court did look to defendants' Title VII cases, they are inapposite.
I like it.
You're going to start using it?
Put that in my bag.
Okay.
You know, you only got to throw it out there once or twice, to make it work.
Yeah, what's the context where you would use it?
Character, a specific character using it.
I thought you were going to use it like in an argument between us.
No. Your argument is inapposite, Angela.
That happened 2 weeks ago. It's inapposite. Let me just find where they stopped talking about the case law. Okay. The few California cases that defendants cite are easily distinguished. The key difference here being that there is no dispute that Wayfair and the production company were aware of not only Lively's concerns and earlier protected activity, but that they also expected that she would engage in further protected conduct, including by making her grievances public through filing a legal claim. Heath expressed to Colleen Hoover his concerns that Lively would bring sexual harassment claims. So they knew.
They knew.
Okay, I'm going to skip the rest of this part.
The crazy thing about it, too, is that her filing was a filing due to the retaliation. And obviously they got lost because everybody wanted to, pick on her for being a prude. But the only reason that she filed with the CRD was because of the retaliation. The only reason the article by Megan Twohey appeared in the New York Times was because of the retaliation.
Yeah, if Justin Baldoni had just fucking sat on his hands through the premiere and didn't try to fucking wage war.
Smiled the way he was doing it on the red carpet in the first place.
We never would have heard this story.
It would have bubbled
blown
around.
Over.
Yeah.
He would have had a huge career. She would have gone on to the next thing.
And then it would be like one of them footnotes, right? Where it'd be like, ironically, the two stars absolutely, I found out whatever. Officer and a Gentleman was one of my favorite movies growing up.
Oh my God. And those, who is it?
Deborah Winger
and Richard Gere what do they call it when you smoke up the screen? No, what do they call it?
Yeah, steamy. They're steamy. They were
yes.
Yeah, they were sizzling and you would think these people had fallen
so bad at this. I can't believe
in lust with each other.
I'm like, what do you call it?
and instead they actually did not like each other at all.
It's crazy because it's probably one of the best, most realistic sex scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And that and the revelation that these two actually fucking hated each other just seems impossible to me.
So it would have just been, you know, a footnote. And yeah, there would have been a certain amount, and we live in a different age than Officer and a Gentleman. So there would have been maybe more exposure than, and that, you know, and It Ends With Us was probably going to be a bigger hit overall than an Officer and a Gentleman, as big as it was in the 80s. So, you know, hard to quantify the two, but nonetheless, you know, this would have been just something that people talked about on the side, and Blake Lively would have had her corner, and Baldoni would have had his corner, which happens all the time in Hollywood. Right. Hollywood is a conflicting, competing, arguing war zone, man. I mean, people are fighting all the time. It's not. I mean, my story is just one of many, you know, hundreds and hundreds that stem up in a year.
Well, listen, MJ the lawyer was talking about this, that the reason why it's impossible to turn away from this lawsuit. And the revelations that are coming out with the Rebel Wilson case now in Australia, is because what they're doing is they're exposing that there's this machine, this smear machine, right?
Yes.
Like, it may have been that everything would have been fine, except that this machine exists, and any one of these fucking problematic men can just like flip the switch, pay some money, and have somebody completely fucking destroyed in with their publicity monsters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, if that didn't exist, it would have just blown over because he wouldn't have had any other recourse. All these professional publicists, they're not going to fucking, you know, they're not going to ruin their reputation for fucking Baldoni. But Melissa Nathan has a whole machine that's ready to just like get started, you know?
Kingsgater's here, by the way. It's been a minute. It's so good to see you. Kingsgater said that the only video that showed, the only thing that video showed was that Flaw is a terrible interview who can't connect with people. She should have been embarrassed that so many people have seen it. And this is what I agree with.
Oh my God, that's so true.
I think the only thing that
I never thought of it that way.
I think the only thing that video did was make her look bad. Yeah, I know. It's the reason why she's still not doing it, because she's horrible at it.
Okay, this last thing about this topic. The court has already recognized this principle here, finding that a jury could find that the Wayfair parties were motivated not just by fear of what would be disclosed, but by the protected actions Lively had taken in the past. So the record is clear that by summer of 2024, when defendants were scenario planning ways to bury Lively, this is crazy, right? Are you listening?
I am, yeah.
It's not as nice for me when I'm talking to myself.
You're not. You have a crowd of people here, and they're all going, Angela, Angela.
The record is clear that by the summer of 2024, when defendants were scenario planning ways to bury Lively, defendants were on notice of her protected activity, understood that Lively thought that they behaved in a discriminatory manner, that's a quote, and also expected Lively would make her grievances public and or file legal claims. Baldoni acknowledged that the protections letter insinuates that I am unsafe or sexually harassing. That's his quote. Heath requested a timeline of all alleged incidents raised by Lively. As a direct result of fears that Lively would do so, defendants decided to go to war and consulted with their current counsel, Brian Friedman.
That's Baldoni's words,
yep.
bro.
And consulted with their current counsel, Brian Friedman, based on a recommendation that, in quotes, he's a killer and would bury Blake. On this record, defendants cannot reasonably dispute that the alleged character attacks were undertaken because they feared Lively would publicize or legally assert allegations that they had created a hostile work environment in connection with the film. To preclude Lively from introducing evidence and argument related to defendants' fear that Lively would speak out and or assert claims against them, the proactive steps that defendants took to deter that activity, and that such steps constitute unlawful retaliation, would create precisely the absurd and perverse result that California cautions against. Indeed, it would allow defendants to present an unchallenged story about how they allegedly took only reasonably defensive measures without giving the jury essential and necessary context from which to infer that defendants' retaliatory campaign was undertaken both based on Lively's prior protected acts, including the protections agreement and the January 4th meeting, among others, and also to preempt and deter Lively from speaking out or filing claims against them. It would also signal to employers that if they act quickly enough, they can retaliate against an employee that they know has concerns, including by publicly attacking her character.
Exactly. It's the most stupidest thing ever.
So long as they strike first.
Exactly.
FEHA does not permit that result. Accordingly, the motion should be denied.
Yeah. Get real, dude. Get real. Get too real.
Put your real pants on.
Put your real pants on, people. Hey, listen, I've just posted a video in the show notes. It is approximately 17 minutes long, and it's just it's a number from Mike Tyson, Robert Downey Jr., Will Smith, Scarlett Johansson, just people flipping out on their interviewers.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got 5 million views. The link is in the description.
Like 20 of them are Kirsty Flaw because she sucks.
The link is in the and just count how many got canceled for it. Count how many people's careers, from Quentin Tarantino to Will Smith to Scarlett Johansson, how many careers were utterly destroyed because they got fucking spicy with or saucy with an interviewer. Come on. Put your fucking thinking caps on. It's good to see King Skater.
Opposition to defendant's motion to preclude Lively's prior descriptions of her experience. Let's see. They want to preclude evidence and testimony concerning Lively's communications to others about her objections about her experience on set on relevance and hearsay grounds. Oh, so like when she's texting her friends about like how crazy these men are acting on the set and how they're annoying and she can't believe that she has to deal with this bullshit.
Yeah. More or less.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's obviously fucking relevant.
It is.
While Heath denies that Lively read every point on the list, other witnesses that attend this meeting confirm that she did. That's interesting.
Indeed.
During the January 4th all-hands meeting. Okay. Defendants do not dispute that immediately after the January 4th meeting, Baldoni wrote to his prayers and support group describing the list that was read from a phone, all the things that I did. And in their subsequent timeline document, Wayfarer mentions how the production planning meeting turned into an HR complaints meeting on January 4th, 2024. This is further evidence that goes to retaliatory intent, demonstrating that defendants understood both the topic and the substance of the January 4th meeting to relate to Lively's protected complaints of sexual harassment. Moreover, in the context of jury instructions, defendants proposed an instruction in which the jury should be advised that it is not unlawful to take an adverse employment action against a disruptive protective activity that undermines the chain of command. Weird. That is a weird fucking take. We retaliated against her because she was insubordinate. That's, I guess, what they want to say. All right, here's a footnote. Defendants
Come on now.
Disingenuously argue.
Disingenuously?
Yes, I said it. Defendants argue that some of Lively's allegations are not disputed. And incredibly, count among those allegations the dance scene about which Lively has described the many ways in which Baldoni engaged in unwelcome touching and other behavior, and the onesie scene in which Baldoni told Lively that she's sexy and hot and rolled his eyes when she and Miss Slate objected, saying he must have missed a sexual harassment training. While it is true that what happened was caught on film, everything about how those events felt and why they were so disturbing is contested. And Lively's and Slate's testimony on those issues is paramount to the issue of a reasonable good faith belief in harassment. In fact, these are two of the more than 6 separate incidents that the court specifically discussed in determining, when viewed together, the record supporting Lively's good faith and objective belief that the Wayfarer parties created a hostile work environment under FEHA.
And that's really important, because a lot of what Baldoni fans do is they run away with the idea that any one of these things are in and of themselves
6.
Yeah, 6 or 7, right?
How many do you think a woman shouldn't be made to tolerate without filing a fucking protected complaint?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 7.
What?
7.
7? That's how many?
Or
6
8,
is too few.
8. It's like that though. This is the most frightening thing for women, especially women who want to come forward.
How many are there supposed to be?
There has to be, if they don't have a bunch of victims. If this is a one-off, if some guy does a one-off, the chances of him actually being held accountable are extremely low.
We just saw this in this. This woman obviously was raised up in a very strange cult, but in the fundamentalist Mormon sect that we just saw in this documentary.
Yeah.
What was it? The
FD. Oh, it's called Fake Prophet.
Yeah, the fake prophet. That's right. False prophet.
False prophet.
It's false prophet.
Fake
She
podcast.
was talking about how she wanted to go to the cops, but she was like, are they going to listen to one woman? Like, it prevented her from actually seeking justice sooner because she was like, oh, I need somebody else to come with me.
It's the thing that concerns
They're
me.
not just going to listen to one woman about a fucking polygamist cult.
It's the thing that concerns me most about, like this is, that is an extreme still, like when you have women who are literally dealing with one-off situations. Like the guy who got drunk and made his mistake, right? Should be held accountable. I think we'd both agree, wouldn't you? So, but that guy might get away with it because there's no history, because there's no support, unless there's evidence, obviously. But where the evidence is light, where it's a like he said, she said situation, meaning consent versus non-consent, or harassment versus, whatever tolerable material. This all is the burden on women, and the burden shifts to women unless the like Danny Masterson. Netflix didn't even let him go until the number of women got to the point where they had to no longer
But anytime anybody makes an argument about, in defense of Justin Baldoni, that maybe one thing that he did to Blake Lively wasn't enough to warrant her complaining, right? Which is completely false.
Right.
It just says so much about that person. It says so much more about that person than it does about this case or any of the facts of this case.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean once one uncomfortable situation isn't enough for somebody to fuss about it, to complain about it?
Right.
Certainly it is.
It is.
Like, you would never accept that treatment, right? Like, a person would never accept that treatment, but they'll turn around and make the argument that she should have. Weird. Okay. Likewise, communication between Lively and other female cast members regarding their experiences on set are both relevant and inadmissible, and the Wayfair parties don't want the jury to hear it. That's crazy.
So I just said it's horrifying to learn that the backlog of rape kits is actually, that when the backlog is actually tested, they find evidence of many serial rapists. I tell you, I love The Pit, and I love how they didn't get deep into it, but the rape kit issue, gets front and center in one of the moments in the show, and in a powerful way, really. It's in a rebuke, in a sort of rebuke of all law enforcement dropping the ball and showing sort of the chain of custody and how the chain of custody often gets broke by the police themselves. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, just a little side note.
I don't know why that's not like the biggest promise of every single mayoral campaign or sheriff's office campaign, I can't
believe it's such a major crime. I can't believe you wouldn't leave a murder kit behind.
Like,
you know
the
what I mean?
best way to unseat the incumbent who's got the mayor's seat or the sheriff's office seat, right? What is it called? The sheriff, right? The best way to unseat the incumbent is to talk about the fucking backlog and be like, there won't be a backlog when I'm in charge. I'm actually interested in seeking justice for these people.
Scientist is making another good point. She said that she started pointing out that Baldoni would have had a lot of fucking problems with a male director treating him the way that he treated Blake Lively. And I think that's true. I think that's a very safe assumption.
Yeah, I mean, he
probably
did.
Talk a lot about it on his podcast too.
Yeah, he complained about somebody making advances to him and how it made him super uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like, he knows what it's
in the tub.
Yes, but he doesn't ever want to see himself as being like that. This is the thing. The main problem with Baldoni is that he sees himself so worthy of redemption that he can't possibly do bad things. That's why he's constantly talking to his friends about how hurtful it is that Blake Lively thinks that he made her feel unsafe, instead of recognizing, even for a second, that maybe he did make her feel unsafe and that that's something he should deal with. He's doubtful of it because he sees himself as such a good, redeemable person that he can't do bad things. It's kind of a distortion. The thing, I'm desperate to do a reading of Justin Baldoni's chart because it tells the whole story. Why he's got this like really distorted view of himself and his own ability to be like the perfect idealized person.
It's going to be an amazing, because we're going to pull out the archetypes and everything on that. It's going to be amazing.
I think my biggest struggle with reading his chart is that I think that he is super like messed up. I just don't. What I want to do is like be a lot more
objective.
Yes.
Like be an astrologer, doing an astrologer's job. What are you doing?
Because I could be like, oh, let me just point out the way he's fucked up right here and here and there.
By the way, man, it's not even this like men assaulting people is not. When I got to Hollywood, I got invited to Gay Pride, the parade, and we met up with all these dudes, and they were all gay. I was with a bunch of straight men and women, group of straight men and women who were my friends.
Yeah, gay pride's all inclusive.
It is. And I was having a good time. And this gay guy who was a big television star at the time, big television star, comes up to me and grabs my pack of cigarettes, which is right in my front pocket. And he grabs them and he shakes them and his thumb makes contact with my junk. And he says, and he looks me in the eye and he's like, "Is that a pack of cigarettes in your pocket or are you just glad to see me?"
What?
And he, on 3 more occasions, on multiple different times where I saw him at parties or whatever, harassed me. 3 different occasions. And and then when I brought it, well, my point is that when I brought it up to somebody years later, right? I brought it up. It's like this person was like, "Oh my God," talking about this guy because he's still in the public eye, and he was like, "Oh, he was talking about this guy as this great guy," and I was like, "You know what that fucker did to me 3 different times?" And his response, the person I was speaking to, his response was, "Well, he has a stellar reputation, so good luck getting that story out."
I think it's important
Which
to
I have
mention,
no intention on doing anyway. But the point being
I think
is
it's
that
important to mention that you're not talking about Pedro.
Pedro, I was going to say Balmaceda, Pedro Pascal, no.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, no, never. Absolutely
Because this person you're not naming, but you have talked about how you had
Well, Pedro wasn't a
long
big
friendship
star
with-
in the 1990s.
It's true.
I only met him in 1996.
But he also has a stellar reputation. So I just wanted to clarify that you're not talking about him.
I'm not.
It's always stunning when you see people online, like all these dudes will like show up they'll like climb out of the fucking bog to be like, "Not all men" or something, whenever anybody's complaining about this weird culture we're in.
It's like the cops do that too.
Yeah. And it's,
There are good cops too,
well, it's super, super strange because men are victimized by men more than anybody. And I don't mean sexually victimized.
Yeah.
I mean like literally any violence. Most of the time when a man is subjected to violence, it's from another man. So what do you mean they're doubtful?
Hey, dude,
that men are violent? It's fucking weird.
My whole like feeling of being completely fed up with the patriarchy is because all of the pain of my life, all of it, all of the major traumatic pain, which I've had far too much, is all men, 100%. From my childhood,
Harming you.
through my adulthood,
From left and right,
men
harming you.
taking from me my joy.
Yep.
In ways that are just
That's why it's astonishing
criminal
to me.
to
Anytime anybody's like they want to complain that like it's blown out of proportion or whatever. It's like, do you live around men? Like,
Yeah.
Are you not afraid of other men like kicking the shit out of you or doing whatever?
Look, I know that women abuse children, men included, boys, whatever. I know that there are bad women out there. There are women, but the fucking problem,
It's just a strange thing to deny.
is men.
When obviously the people who are doing the violent crimes by majority, you know what I mean?
They're the men.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what more this has here.
What more?
What more is in store? Okay. All of that we just said was sparked by saying that the communications between Lively and our other female cast members regarding experiences on set are relevant and admissible, and Wayfair wants to exclude them.
Yeah.
Defendants have suggested that Lively and Slate exaggerated their feelings and overreacted to what defendants call misunderstandings and minor events.
They don't get to decide that.
No, they don't.
That's not how that works.
Let's see.
It's so fucking crazy that
I know,
there's
it's
like,
crazy.
like that there's any there's any audacity, the audacity around the concept that your offense to me is by your opinion not offensive. Like, the fuck out of here with that.
They're also defendants are also seeking to exclude witness testimony,
Yes.
each of which again provides testimony that reflects Lively's state of mind and impressions. For example, defendants seek to preclude testimony from third parties Ann Carroll and Vivian Baker, who personally witnessed Jamie Heath force his way into Lively's makeup trailer and gawk at her while she was half nude with her breasts exposed. Like the written communications described above, the testimony defendants now specifically challenge concern Lively's raw reaction immediately after incidents of misconduct, such as...
That's, by the way, after they said, "Don't come in."
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why it's important that they speak. Okay. Like the written communications described above, the testimony defendants now specifically challenge concerning Lively's raw reaction immediately after incidents of misconduct, such as Baldoni's improvised intimacy, Baldoni's pornography addiction, the birthing scene, Jamie Heath showing Lively a video of his wife giving birth, discussions regarding sexual relationships, and other incidents that were perceived as making Lively uncomfortable. Testimony that, again, falls squarely within the rules. And the rules are cited. Similarly, the testimony at issue involving Colleen Hoover again reflects Lively's emotional state, that she felt hurt after being so viciously mistreated by Baldoni and Heath. In quotes, "This job has been the hardest of my life. I couldn't want any validation of my feelings or experience." The challenged testimony, like the statements identified above, are again directly relevant to Lively's good faith belief regarding sexual harassment and rebut defendants' gratuitous characterizations of these incidents as minor misunderstandings.
I mean, it's such a great point, because if they're going to try and fucking say, hey, this woman's overreacting, that none of this was real, this was all imagined in her mind, these things were minor incidents that any reasonable person would get over in a moment and continue on with their day, it can be refuted when there's a multitude of people. Here we are again with, well, yeah, but there was so many others who were also like, her voice isn't enough. I get it. That's the life we live. Unfortunately,
she's also saying that defendants have opened the door to this, because at every turn, defendants have criticized the events identified by Lively as false, going so far as to suggest that Lively fabricated the incidents in order to gain control over the film. But then they don't have good training, so the Wayfair defendants don't realize that Justin Baldoni's just going to fucking tell the truth all the time.
Exactly.
He's constantly admitting to the things that they more generally, through Brian Friedman, are trying to deny. It's crazy. Let's see.
Maddening, I tell you.
The Wayfair parties have suggested that Lively used her experience on set as a cudgel for control of the film. They accuse Lively and others of advancing a fabricated narrative in the press that the Wayfair parties had sexually harassed Lively. They claimed Lively's allegations concerning the birthing scene were false. They were describing as illogical and categorically false Lively's allegations that Heath entered her trailer while she was in a state of undress. Defendants' litigation and public relations strategy from day one has been to attack Lively's credibility by accusing her of having an improper motive, which was to steal the control of the movie, and of manufacturing her claims, which they now claim necessitated reasonable defense measures in response to supposed false charges. That's another thing. It's Schrodinger's Lively's complaints, right?
Yeah.
They're saying that they were false complaints, so they shouldn't have been upset about, or shouldn't have been worried about the public knowing them because they were false, right? But they're saying that her complaints were so threatening that they had to start a smear campaign. So which is it?
It's ridiculous.
In doing so, defendants have opened the door wide to evidence and testimony establishing that she raised sexual harassment concerns before any purported improper motive existed. And like the first month of the film, it's like, what was she gonna con him out of the film in the first month? And that her beliefs were genuine, as corroborated by her numerous contemporaneous messages and statements regarding her negative experience.
Man, I just hope they're able to prove that that they lost control of the set and somebody needed to take control in order to save the film. And movie stars aren't particularly keen on signing on for big giant studio films that could end up ruining their reputation for the parts they pick.
Yeah,
like it's a big deal, man. I mean, if she's in a bomb, that bomb reflects on her more than it does anybody else.
Finally,
just think of how many Stephen King movies bombed. Just think of it.
Right.
Like more than has succeeded.
And I've loved every one.
Yeah, well, you haven't seen A Long Walk. I heard it's bad.
Finally, denial of the motion in Limine, number 11, is warranted because, as defendants acknowledge, evidentiary determinations as to prior consistent statements at this stage are premature. Lively agrees and has neither moved for pre-admission of this evidence nor sought an advisory ruling in a vacuum, as defendants appear to be doing. For this additional reason, denial is warranted. Okay, next one. Opposition to defendant's motion in limine to preclude evidence concerning remedial measures taken by defendants. What is this one? Let's see. Rule 407 is intended to encourage people to voluntarily take precautionary measures after an accident by assuring them that such action cannot be used as evidence of past conduct. I don't understand this one. Do you?
Can you say it again?
Okay, she says here there can be no dispute that the key harm at issue in this case as it goes to trial, in other words, those injuries stemming from retaliatory campaign, okay, that those occurred after the creation and execution of both the CRA, signed on January 19, 2024, and the nudity rider, signed on January 18th, 2024. It follows that neither document nor testimony related to the same could logically constitute a subsequent remedial measure within the meaning. Okay, so this is legal stuff. Remedial measures. I think that this is involved, like, there's a duty to respond to prevent lawsuits, right?
Right.
And she's saying that this is irrelevant because of the facts of these different, the contract writer agreement and the nudity writer. Okay, I'm going to skip this part.
Yeah.
They want to preclude Lively from offering improper lay opinion. They want to exclude testimony about third parties' subjective beliefs whether defendant's conduct was improper. This is about the testimony of Alex Sachs, Warren Zavala, Lively's agent. They want to keep the jury from hearing their views that Baldoni and Heath acted inappropriately by inter alia, and then there's 2 lines redacted. It also seeks to exclude a message in which Jenny Slate tells her team that Baldoni and Heath's behavior is unprofessional, gross, and disturbing. So Wayfair parties don't want the jury educated by people who work in the industry who happen to also be involved in this case. They don't want the jury to be educated about what is normal and what is abnormal conduct on a set.
Right.
Because they think it'll be prejudicial. Isn't that funny? Because what do you mean you don't want people to tell the jury that you guys acted abnormally if you did? That's weird. Okay. So Jenny Slate's saying to her team that the Wayfair guys, that they were unprofessional, gross, and disturbing. Yeah, of course they don't want the jury to hear that.
Yeah.
Notably, defendants implicitly concede that such evidence. I'm sorry, I'm screwing up. Defendants implicitly concede that such evidence is relevant, which they must, because, as the court has explained, proving that Lively reasonably believed that Wayfair engaged in harassment contains both a subjective and objective component. Testimony and evidence from others who communicated contemporaneously about the underlying events is directly probative of both the subjective and objective inquiries.
See?
Conceding relevance, the defendants attempt to exclude such evidence pursuant to Rule 702, but this analysis supports the opposite conclusion, that the evidence is admissible. The court should reject their arguments to exclude the testimony of Sachs and Zavala, as well as Slate's message, for the reasons discussed below. I think I'm going to skip this part.
Yeah.
We get it, right?
Yep.
Let's see. Sachs and Zavala, their views of Baldoni and Heath's conduct, which is also highly probative of Lively's subjective and objective reasonable belief that their conduct was unlawful. This refutes defendants' claim that Lively orchestrated opposition to Baldoni and their retaliatory actions were reasonably defensive and is squarely admissible.
Our scientist was like, good luck getting any actress with any sort of name and recognition to sign up with a movie doing starring or directed by Justin Baldoni again. And while that's actually true, well, that's 100% true. It's also studios. Like, studios don't want this shit. Like, this guy, you know, they barely warded this guy off from ruining the release of the movie. And there's fucking evidence of that in the text directly to Jamie Heath. You're going to ruin the release of this movie. You know? Like, these guys were, you know, a disaster. And studios don't want that. They want stability in their production partners for sure.
This is neat. The court should deny the Wayfarer party's attempt to exclude testimony about third parties' subjective belief that the cut of the movie Lively helped edit was better than Baldoni's version.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want the jury to hear that.
They don't want anyone to hear that.
I know. She said this testimony directly refutes defendants' claim that Lively coerced Sony to release the version of the film that she helped edit by threatening them. But this, they're trying to exclude evidence by Colleen Hoover, who said it was better, and made a whole long, like, 3-page email all about all the different points that she thought were improved in Lively's cut. Josh Greenstein and Jenny Slate, believing that the version of the film that Lively helped edit was superior to Baldoni's version based on their own perception from their screening of the competing film cuts.
You can add Ange Gianetti's testimony at the, you know, when she texted Blake Lively, praising her, saying it was her blood, sweat, and tears that made everything so successful, and she can't believe what she's done, and she knows it was hard, but look what's come of it, so on and so forth.
Okay, the next one is the court should deny their number 13 motion in limine, their attempt to exclude testimony about third-party subjective belief about Lively's character. When Jenny Slate and Colleen Hoover praise Lively as a talented, good, and inspiring person, they don't want the jury to hear that.
Yeah, why would you? That flies in the face of what is true about this devil woman.
This is going. It proves how Lively was actually perceived, contrary to defendant's narrative. Let's see. Slate's praise of Lively on May 19th reflects her empathizing with and supporting Lively in connection with the scene that Lively had just performed with Baldoni, and Slate recognizing how difficult it must be for her in light of Baldoni's behavior toward Lively. Let me see if I can find quotes here. Hoover's text reflects the reality, which was that Hoover and Lively worked hand in hand in the Sony edit, and that both of them wanted to influence the film's narrative, and both of them were responsible for the final cut.
There you go.
The August 10th, 2024 text chain is a profound expression of the culmination of that joint effort, in which Hoover praises Lively for the film's weekend box office success, and Lively responds, "I have one note on your above text. Swap every you for we. This is us. It starts right here with you and me. It ends with us." She said, "I couldn't love and appreciate you more." This text chain is not character evidence. It is highly probative and corroborating of Lively's experience, and it would be prejudicial to her if defendant's destructive narrative could not be rebutted by this contemporaneous communication.
It's also selfless, which flies in the face of the accusations they want to make about her.
That's right. Right. Everything that she's doing, all that work she's doing is going to enrich the Wayfair parties.
Somebody who's selfish is going to be like, well, thank you. I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's the line they use.
Behind every great woman.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Is an even greater woman.
They opposed defendant's motion in Limine 14 to preclude speculative evidence about the use of bots. Okay. Next one is they want to preclude evidence concerning the following irrelevant topics.
I'm so excited for our Sunday astrology because I didn't know that the ancients used bots.
Oh yeah, they totally had. They had robots and androids.
They had robots and androids. Okay,
let's see the following irrelevant topics.
How crazy is that though when you think about it? Because it's 2024 and we're just seeing them in reality now, and they were writing about them thousands of years ago. I'm telling you, it's all about the aliens, bro.
I can't figure out what this is. Defendants simply enumerate in a numbered list the topics of evidence they deem appropriately subject to exclusion. None sufficiently identifies the evidence defendants seek to exclude. For example, defendants seek to categorically exclude videos, podcasts, speeches, and other materials, such as full episodes of Baldoni and Heath's Man Enough podcast and Baldoni's books. They did not identify the portions of the podcast, books, or speeches they seek to exclude. Likewise, defendants seek to exclude evidence regarding whether consent was provided for tape-recorded phone calls without specifying the phone calls at issue or the persons who did or did not provide consent. See, it seems like their lawyers are so sloppy. Isn't that weird? Well. They also seek to exclude unspecified comments on various social media posts endorsing Lively's allegations. They identify 2 examples of such posts, but do not otherwise identify the particular comments or which of Lively's allegations the comments allegedly endorse. Without the detail outlined here, the court has no ability to review the documents and determine whether there are grounds for exclusion. The motion should be denied on this basis. Lively is willing to meet and confer with defendants on the portions of Baldoni's books and the Man Enough podcast we intend to use for any purposes other than impeachment in advance of trial days.
You remember that part where you said you don't know how to take no for an answer?
Yeah.
We're going to use that. Remember that part when you talked about not respecting women? Yeah, we're going to use that.
Oh, also, Baldoni and Heath recognized in real time that he was being seen as unsafe and harassing. The quote, Baldoni stated with respect to the protections letter, "Of course, we all know what this document insinuates, that I am unsafe / sexually harassing, etc., etc., etc." Another one.
Fucked, dude.
Heath feared that Lively would file sexual harassment claims against him. Guys, you're bad at this. Baldoni says, "To me, being an ally is about learning through listening, learning through doing, and learning through feedback. As men, we need to have empathy and recognize that women coming forward to share their stories takes tremendous courage. When we created Man Enough, we wanted to be sure that we were being responsible and thoughtful allies." Damn.
Damn. Damn.
There's some quotes by Steve Sarowitz. They're just trying to let the jury know who these people are.
Put more dirt on the coffin.
Oh, okay. Here's another one. Heath says, there are people that I've hurt. And when you've hurt people, you just got to be accountable and be willing to accept that. And if I've hurt one woman, I've hurt 10 women, their sister, and their mother and their grandmother and children and so on. So the impact, the ripple effect is great. So I say these things so that hopefully another man that has some experience in my life with this walk of life can feel safe to acknowledge it in themselves and that they are not evil. What are you talking about having done, Jamie Heath?
Wow.
That they are not evil, that there are some things that are broken, but those broken things can be corrected, can be fixed. I'm sorry, sir. What the fuck are you?
What did you do?
What have you done?
Well, either that or he's just a wildly dramatic individual. But
Jesus. If I've hurt one woman, I've hurt 10 women.
Well,
okay,
think
so
of
that
the
was like
millions you have done now.
That is a really, really severe. Like, that was a real bad hurt, I guess.
No, it's just some fucking guy trying to sound like he's so in tune with everything and so on and so forth. And, he doesn't understand that it's not about hurting women. It's about not hurting women. It's not about hurting women.
This is that
it's
benevolent.
About not hurting women.
He really struggled in the Man Enough podcast when he was learning about benevolent sexism.
Right, yeah.
If I've hurt one woman, I've hurt 10 women. And meanwhile, women are like, no, you could just see us as individuals, actually.
Yeah, actually, you hurt the one woman you hurt.
That's kind of all we ever wanted to be, was just individuals being seen as actual, just real people.
It's just a way of him trying to make a trophy out of himself and his awareness on the matter.
Okay, Lively's protected activity was wholly inconsistent with the behavior of the faith-centric, accountable, and thoughtful allies that Baldoni, Heath, and Sarowitz purported to be. They had retaliatory motive to silence and attack Lively as the person threatening to undermine the personas developed in the articles, speeches, podcasts, books, and videos Lively seeks to introduce. This goes to motive.
Of course.
This goes to motive. This is the public persona they wanted to protect.
They want control over it, like most who have problematic pasts, right? They want to control that narrative as best they can. Take Bill Gates, for example. He's just not in the news anymore.
There also evidence concerning Wayfair's policies and procedures for preventing and investigating sexual harassment are also relevant and probative. So Wayfair is seeking to not show the jury anything about the Wayfair employee handbook and any of the stuff that they have to maintain appropriate documentation and tracking through investigations of concerns. Okay? That's weird that they don't want the jury to see that.
Yeah.
Also, evidence concerning picketing or respect or lack of respect for picketing during the writer's strike is also relevant to Lively's retaliation claim. Once again, because of Wayfair's own words and actions, Lively would not offer evidence that Baldoni broke and pressured his subordinates to also break. Remember when everybody was calling Blake Lively a scab, or Ryan Reynolds a scab?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was Baldoni who was actually doing
No, he was scabbing. Yeah, he was straight like, let's work.
Lively would not offer evidence that Baldoni broke and pressured his subordinates also to break the picket lines to show that he is a person of poor character. Instead, the purpose of the evidence is to show the retaliatory motive Wayfair had in its placement of media stories falsely accusing Ryan Reynolds of crossing the picket lines for writing during the strike. Not only did the defendants attack Lively's husband with no basis, he did not serve as a writer on the film and violated no guild rules at any point in time, but they deliberately attacked him knowing full well that Baldoni had not only regularly crossed the picket lines, but pressured others on the cast and crew to do the same.
A scientist said, look, if we exclude all of her evidence, she has no evidence. So if we allow her to produce any evidence, it will massively undermine our planned defense that she has no evidence.
Baldoni proudly admitted the same, stating, I think every time I was on set during the writer's strike, I was crossing the picket line. He said in his deposition, I was really shocked to read his deposition when he was like, I don't care if you say that about me, that I'm a scab. I don't care. He doesn't care.
No.
Because he has no fucking values.
Yeah, okay. because he stands behind his crew, including his writers. The guy's fucking gross, man.
Slate conveyed to Lively, I think Justin is hoping to just sneak into an entrance that they might not be at, but I don't want to sneak like that. It feels really bad to me. Yikes. Okay, the remaining evidence defendants seek to exclude...
That would gross me out in a big way. I mean, I'm a writer,
God,
but...
I know. The remaining evidence defendants seek to exclude is likewise relevant to Lively's retaliation claim under FEHA. Baldoni and Heath's receipt of consent for certain tape-recorded phone calls, including one with Slate and Lively, is directly relevant to whether Lively's belief on harassment or other wrongdoing in violation of FEHA was objectively reasonable. And then for the final topic of evidence defendants seek to exclude, defendants also contend that Lively plans to offer I don't know what these letters mean. PTX219A and PTX409A. Okay, to highlight comments on various social media posts endorsing Lively's allegations. That is incorrect. An Instagram video posted by Baldoni is an excerpt of a September 26, 2023 episode of the Man Enough podcast where Baldoni references just 3 months after the filming of Phase 1 concluded, saying things he should not have said while filming It Ends With Us movie, compelling him to reread his own book. The quote is, "And while I've been gone, I was confronted with some real situations in which I had to reread my own book.
Oh my
Because
God.
of the unique situation I was in, I was resorting to like 7th grade vocabulary. I had to go in and go like, oh wait, I need to course correct here. I'm sorry, I'm off course and I need to course correct here. And you know what? I shouldn't have said that. Why did I say that?" Baldoni's admission is direct evidence that he knew in real time, in other words, when and after Lively raised concerns about his conduct, that he crossed a line on the film set.
He did it. He did this is over and over again. What I guess I missed the HR fucking
The sexual harassment meeting.
right. Come on, man.
It's separately relevant to Baldoni's argument in floral-centered marketing of the film, a promotional approach he weaponized against Lively when contrasting his later domestic violence-focused promotion of the film against Lively's floral and fashion-focused promotion. Okay, another one. Defendants seek to exclude evidence and arguments regarding damages claims as discussed in the Wayfair Party's Daubert motions. I'm not going to understand what any of this is. Okay.
Manderley says, remember when you publicly claimed that you had a porn addiction and then your lawyer revealed that you lied about having one? Like that was a real gotcha.
I love how he framed it as a gotcha.
Yeah.
Too. Oh, you're saying that my client said he had a porn addiction, but what if I told you he never did? You're like, okay, so your client's a liar?
Yeah, it's like
about porn
addiction? It's like Jed Wallace's, it was
fucking
puffery.
weirdo. That makes him weirder.
Jed Wallace's puffery.
Yeah, it's puffery.
This is just all these people. They just fucking lie with it's amazing to me.
Oh, they also, this would be very convenient if the Wayfair parties succeeded in precluding evidence and argument of reputational harm damages. Of course. Of course.
As scientist said, he tells it himself all the time. He does. He tells it himself not just by, him actually literally telling on himself, but then he, just fucking does these things.
This is the thing,
conducts himself in this manner.
Sometimes I think about people and their behavior in terms of dog training, because it does actually just like simplify it so much. Like they're actually just behaving like dogs. Justin Baldoni has been rewarded by people. He's attained like social currency from people when he reveals something bad he's done before. This has happened I'm sure in his church. He wants to be redeemed, so he puts himself forward for redemption, and they reflect back to him that you are good enough to be redeemed. So this is the way that he operates.
Yeah.
So he doesn't recognize the difference. It's like when you teach a dog to bark for a treat, it's like a party trick,
Yeah.
You're like, speak, and the dog barks. But then later on, when they just want a treat, they'll just bark, and you're like, shut the fuck up. Why are you barking? This is Justin Baldoni. He has been given treats for barking, but he doesn't recognize that in some of these other contexts, he's not supposed to be barking. He doesn't recognize that revealing the bad things he's done in these other contexts is not actually going to give him a reward. He's actually just going to get scolded for being a fucking weirdo. He's just like a dog that got trained and is mixing the messages.
Do you want to do some chat and then finish this up on Friday?
It is finished.
Oh, we did it?
Yeah.
That's
Well, this is the last part is all about reputational damages, and it's a long argument about, I'm not going to read all this. They want to exclude relevant reputational damages arising from defendant's retaliatory lawsuit. Want to preclude evidence and argument related to allegedly lost profits and lost royalties. So all of this is about damages.
So maybe Friday we can get to 56.1.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be a nice way to end the weekend with a banger. Unless, of course, something pops up.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that they get a ruling on this pretty soon because, the clock's ticking, right?
Manderley saying at this point, I half expect Baldoni to work for the Daily Wire. Is that like what is the Daily Wire? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's like a very right-slanted news.
Oh, yeah, because that's why you say he's in Tennessee, so he might. Yeah, well, I think he's probably going to make, look, thing about them is that they have money. And they're also, Steve Sarowitz is a major investor in a distribution company called Angel Distributing. So I think that he's got himself set up to like do some self-distribution, like low key, completely, separate from Hollywood. So I think they'll make movies. I think they're going to
He
be
should just-
self-financed.
Yeah, he should just work under a pseudonym.
Yeah, he might, or he might not. I mean, he might have plenty of people who believe in him enough to work with him. Who knows?
A scientist says, you're not wrong. The exact same processes are happening in the brain across species learning habits. It's the same regions of the brain and the same neurochemicals involved.
Yeah.
When we learn habits, and it's true, like you see he talks about the Baldoni's reliance on Jamie Heath is because he's constantly reflecting back to him that no matter what Baldoni confesses to, that he's so brave for confessing, and it also makes him a good person for admitting that he's done these wrong things. Meanwhile, other people who are not like, who haven't been like brainwashed into like this specific form of like confessional bypassing, are like, what the fuck are you just admitting to, bro?
King Gator said 2 types of men here: the ones who lie and the ones who think that telling the truth is enough to earn them forgiveness. Yeah, that's the thing that really does drive me crazy about this, is like this whole idea that if I fess up to it, that makes me a better man.
A scientist says, also, does anyone else remember when we learned from Justin Baldoni's deposition that he did indeed miss the sexual harassment training because his assistant did it for him?
Yeah, that's right.
I forgot about that part. Yeah, like the fucking jury has to hear that, I
imagine they will.
Whatever. Maybe they won't because all of the sexual harassment stuff was thrown out.
They got Jonathan Majors for their latest movie. Is that true?
Oh no, that's a joke. Jonathan Majors was similarly canceled.
Oh really?
Yes, he.
He can work with all of them. There's so many.
He was accused of assaulting.
Kevin Spacey.
He was accused of assaulting
Justin
a woman,
Baldoni,
like violently. I don't think sexually, violently. She had marks.
In a new film by Justin Baldoni, Good Men.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. I remember this guy. I remember seeing about him, his whole crash.
Oh yeah, that was recent.
Yeah. Yeah, people, man, they just fucking, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, that's interesting. So he got canceled and he got uncanceled because apparently people didn't believe, or maybe he was exonerated somehow. I wasn't really following it very closely, but whatever. A lot of people are reasonably skeptical of him, but he started working again. And then in his very next movie, he fell through a glass window and hurt himself. And a bunch of the crew members walked off set because it was an unsafe set because they were doing stunts without protection. And so it's just like, do you think that Jonathan Majors Daimon is telling him to get the fuck out of the public eye? Like, maybe you should stop doing the career thing, bro. Like, maybe you should stop doing the film stuff. Because, like, you know how, like, the fates sometimes put a bunch of obstacles in your way when you're actually supposed to, like, switch your path? They're like, oh, look at that. The path that you're walking on has a bunch of, like, sharp tacks on it. Maybe you should not walk on that path anymore.
Or a pit that you fall in.
Yeah.
You have to climb back out.
Oh, look, he fell through the window. Maybe he'll stop. Let's see. Thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. This is a really vibrant chat. It's almost too much for me to figure out how to get through. Have you been reading things while I was reading?
I
feel like I'm taking on a lot of responsibility here with the chat when you have been the guy just sitting there watching.
Hey, listen, you know what? You're trying to call me lazy. Is that what you're going to try to tell me? Because who's going to edit this thing in the morning? Missy Pie.
Missy Pie. Look, oh yeah, you read all that one. Felbaumling says, as per Variety, Wayfarer Studios has acquired the rights to the Nutcracker. In a surprise move, Justin Baldoni to direct, star in, and serve as the sexual predator.
I mean, he's got a future there.
You had me in the first half, bro. I was like, really?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. I can see where you commented.
What, agreed?
Yeah. King Gator. Didn't Flaw get mad that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is not white enough because they wouldn't let her in? Is this true? Did she have a gripe about...
It wouldn't surprise me.
Did she think that she was being, like, racially profiled or something?
It wouldn't surprise me. I think she's such a...
That's weird.
Terrible
That's a weird
human
hill to die on, that one.
I think like no matter how she tries to justify her existence, it's bad. Like if she tries to justify, if she's working on their behalf, which they seem to have that all well covered up because I don't believe them. I just don't believe them. So that's my personal prerogative, and I don't believe them. I think that she put that post up through a very clandestine message of her, for her to do that. But if I'm wrong, and I may be, if I am wrong, and she did in fact do that because she chose to retaliate against Blake Lively 6 years later after seeing her on the verge of one of her biggest successes as an actor, that makes her so disgusting.
I know. It doesn't make it any better.
No, it makes it just as bad, if not worse.
No, it would make her, it would be even better if she just got a tip that somebody was like, hey, would you just like repost that video? Because we're trying to smear Blake Lively.
We know you don't like her, so it would help us. But yeah, if
she was just like, I'm going to seize the opportunity completely independently, and I'm just going to like take my opportunity to slam Blake Lively while she's succeeding. Like, what the fuck?
There's absolutely no way you can paint Kirsty Flaw's participation in this where she comes out anything other than absolute scum, in my opinion.
Like you, for instance, you have legitimate beef with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire. And you have specifically avoided making too much of a stink about what they did to you and your own projects about Freeing Dawn's Plum when they have something that they're promoting.
That's correct.
Because you're a fucking person who recognizes that anything that they're involved in involves dozens of other people who are also hoping that succeeds, and you don't want to.
I have, as a matter of policy, never released anything during a release of any major production that Leonardo DiCaprio starred in. 100% of the time.
And you have a legitimate reason to attack them.
For sure. But I've never done that because
you're seeking justice.
I'm not out to create damage, but I also don't want to be the guy riding the coattails of this guy's. I'm going to put my complaints out there and I'm going to let them ride or die. And most of them have died.
Oh, this is interesting. Manderley is saying that, earlier when they said that Justin Baldoni is going to work for the Daily Wire.
Yeah.
Manderley is saying Daily Wire is Ben Shapiro's entertainment company.
Oh, yeah.
And what's interesting about that is that they have they're born very close. So they have the same birth.
I get you.
Astrology placements, but they're just in different places. Ben Shapiro has both Malefics and Pluto and the moon in his 7th house. And that says a lot about how he doesn't understand women.
Yeah. Or even how to talk to them.
How his relationships are kind of fraught.
Is Nick Fuentes on that, in that sort of configuration?
I haven't looked up Nick Fuentes' birth chart.
Because that guy, but
Ben
brutal.
Shapiro and Justin Baldoni, let me just look at their birth dates real quick. And then we can sign off.
Pardon me? By the way, I turn the volume down when I do that, just so you know.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You mute yourself? That's very courteous.
Kind of. It's like a muting, yeah. Got my allergies, man.
Oh, yeah.
Burn.
Okay. So they were born the same year, and they were born 9 days apart. Ben Shapiro is January 15th. Justin Baldoni is January 24th.
God. Capricorns and Aquarius.
Both born in the same
It's
Los
interesting
Angeles
because they jump signs,
Yeah. So they'd probably get along, twins.
Ben Shapiro is when Justin Baldoni is when the light is getting darker, when the dark is consuming the light, even more so.
Yeah. So Ben Shapiro is a different sun sign, and both Malefics and Pluto are in his 7th house, and that says a lot about how he's always being made fun of in the media for not understanding women. Like, he's married, but apparently he constantly puts his foot in his mouth about. What?
Mandalay just learned that she shares the same birth date as Justin Baldoni. Well, Angela and Justin Baldoni have the same rising sign. They have a very similar chart, actually.
Yes. Yeah, he was born 2 years after me. And so it takes 2 years for Mars to go all the way around. So he's the same Mars placement.
Yeah.
It's just
a little older.
A little older, yeah.
A little less wiser.
Okay, shall we?
Forever unclean, she said. That's so fun. Go take a shower and it'll all go away.
It's not a he could have made the most of it. He could have done. Here's the thing: is if Justin Baldoni understood, if he goes to a lot of therapy, he's always talking about how he goes to therapy. If he just once like went and consulted with like a Jungian psychoanalyst, he probably would be better off.
Sure, he needs to get out of the Baha'i loop.
He is getting like absolutely fucking yanked around by his astrology placements, and he's getting yanked around by these like subconscious, like paranoia, like weird threat assessment, and he just doesn't understand
He's like
how
fighting
to help
against
himself.
the archetype, you know?
Yes.
It's like
and so I just feel like he just he's not being helped. It's not like he's got a bad chart. He's just dealing with it so badly.
Hey, listen, it could be worse. Manderly says, you know, forever unclean. It could be worse, right? Like Hitler's Taurus. We're in Taurus season. You know, Hitler's a Taurus. Imagine how if you're a Taurus when you learn that.
It is so weird because every time you read anybody's astrology book, they always use Adolf Hitler as like a chart example because we know his birth time.
Yeah.
So everybody always wants to talk about.
I think he's a Taurus sun though, isn't he?
I've never once in my life like been so reminded of Hitler constantly than when I've studied astrology. It's very strange.
Yeah, April 20th, 1889. So glad he's dead. Well, it was fun hanging out with you. Sorry if I tripped and fell a couple times along the way.
No.
These lives happen that way.
What happened?
I don't know.
You're good, man.
But appreciate your company. We'll be back on Friday. We're going to bring 56.1.
Yes.
We're also, Delicate, who, so Delicate, if you're reading this, if you end up watching this on the replay, Angela will read those text messages, right? I don't know what text messages she's talking about specifically. Are these the ones to Ben Affleck and whatever?
Or was
Delicate's
that Erica?
asking. It was Delicate.
Yeah, I think Delicate came back and started catching up in 1.5 speed.
Well, Delicate, let me slow down for you.
I'll read
Speaking
those
of
text
slow
messages.
down, dude, Zootopia, the sloth, forget about it.
Oh, it was so funny. It was so great.
Come on.
I mean, it was totally predictable, but the way that they wrote that scene turned out to be much more rewarding.
Well, the way that the animation is what was rewarding. Like when he breaks out laughing is just one of the most rewarding, animation moments I have in recent memory for sure. I loved it. Speaking of which, I'm going to go now and maybe watch a movie. You guys are fun to hang out with. And thank you, All Scientist and Bobo. They both slashed a couple of bad ones that came along.
It's for the best.
So thanks for watching out for us. We appreciate that. And we'll be back on Friday. Hit us up if you have any suggestions for any other content you want us to cover. We'll gladly do it.
Yep.
You guys are the best. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week until we see you on Friday, where we'll all be thanking the gods. Of course, except the New Zealanders and the Australians, who will be on to Saturday already. Good night, you guys.
Good night.